15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
This is the game for the 35, 6 seconds left. Browns up 5, defend this and beat the Steelers. Russell Wilson to throw, back to throw, has time, hit as he throws, ball up into the air towards the end zone, knock it down, jump ball, incomplete! Browns win!
Thank you to the Browns Radio Network. The Hail Mary falls short. The Browns get their third win of the season in what was an epic snow globe of a game. I mean, in the standings, I don't know how much it's really going to end up mattering, Perloff, but for that moment and last night, that was a cool game to watch.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, though, because I was thinking the whole time, I'm going to owe Maggie an apology for this dumb game. Because you said Browns, Steelers, I know it's not the best matchup, but the weather will make up for it. And everyone here said, no, that is such a bad matchup that the weather can't do it. But the weather did it. Weather is undefeated in football. The second half. The first half was a tough watch.
No, it was god-awful. And actually, into the third quarter got really sloppy as well. But then 27 combined points in the fourth quarter. And it was a back-and-forth kind of affair because the Steelers were down 12 points going into the fourth quarter with this terrible weather. And you're thinking, maybe they're just dead in the water. They score 2 touchdowns. After not scoring a touchdown for 7 quarters, the Steelers scored 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes, end up taking the lead, and then it was like, all right, this is, it's going to be a wacky ending after Jameis Winston fumbled, then threw a terrible pick. I mean, you had the full Jameis Winston experience, but a Nick Chubb touchdown was the difference, and then you just heard the Hail Mary from Russ fell short.
I mean, the Browns were desperately trying to give it away. The Jameis fumble was so bad. The pick wasn't as bad.
I thought the pick was bad, but it's snowing. Who knows?
Actually, the pick worked out well because it was 3rd and 10, and they were probably going to go for it on 4th down and be stuck back at the 40. So it actually pinned the Steelers back at the 20. The Njoku touchdown drop did not end up hurting them, but that was crazy too. There was just so many moments where the Browns could have put them away and did not, which has made it a great game. You know what, though? I think you mentioned it's not important in the standings. I think we should be careful about having too many takeaways from this game because the second half was defined by the weather, right? Do we agree on that? Or are we saying, because we spent all week debating, are the Steelers a Super Bowl team? I don't think we know really who they are in the playoff picture based on last night.
I don't think so either because what are the odds you're going to get multiple of those types of games? But one thing I will say, and not to do I was right because they lost the game last night, but I did like, and I thought they could have done it a lot more and maybe even smarter. I like the Justin Fields changeup that they went with. The problem was I thought the play calling from Arthur Smith, it was like you had it, you brought it. Okay, so here's the situation. The Steelers are leading 19-18 in the fourth quarter, okay? There's about 4.5 minutes left in the game. As we said, snow globe, it's crazy, snow in your face. Fields comes into the game. Change of pace. Najee Harris runs for 3 yards. Give it to Harris again for another 3 yards. Cleveland calls timeout. So now you're looking at a 3rd and 4, and Justin Fields is your quarterback right now, not Russell Wilson. You have the lead. You're trying to basically salt the game away / get one more score to put the game away. They do a deep pass to Pickens.
Yeah, which has been their most consistent, most effective play of the season.
With Russ.
Right.
Not with Fields. And what happened was the defensive back kind of didn't even really get his head turned around, but he also didn't really inhibit the route, and Pickens ended up falling, and the throw was off anyway, and the whole thing just ended up being incomplete. They have to punt, and then only took a minute off the clock. Cleveland scores a touchdown on the ensuing possession.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're on an island on this one because I think most people thought Russ was ridiculously good last night and to take him out of the game, destroy the Steelers. I think that's what I kept reading. I mean, Russ was on fire last night. I don't know where that game came from. That's the best he's played all year.
Well, it's weird that the deep ball was working when it's snowing like
Everything
that.
was working. He barely missed a pass. In the second half, he was great. I give him a lot of credit. And you know what? He was hanging in there. There's one play that really stood out to me. It was 4th down. And he scrambled out to his left, and he was about to get killed by Myles Garrett, found a way to make the play. He was just unbelievably accurate in tough conditions. So I actually think, I'm not sure that they're not going to go the other way and say, Russ is playing so well right now, maybe we just go full Russ and really limit the Fields packages because last night they gave Fields a drive. I'm not sure they're going to do that anymore. I don't think they're going to put him in first down. I think they put him in running situations like Taysom Hill.
Yeah, right. But
is that what you're talking about? What do you think of giving it to him on first down and say, this is your drive, Justin?
Listen, I think if you're going to do that, just commit to it, right? Like, I know it's tough. That's not maybe 4-down territory because you're at your own 30, so that's a little bit dicey, obviously. But I think if you're going to put him in the game with the lead, it's like having a closer in some kind of way. I know it was only a 1-point lead, but you can't just all of a sudden then start calling the plays that you would call for Russ if Justin Fields is going to be in the game.
Yeah, but the short yardage running plays were not working all night for the Steelers.
It was hard. And credit to the Browns. Their defense really held up on those short yardage situations.
This game came down to fourth down. The Steelers missed multiple fourth downs, and the Browns hit all their fourth downs.
Literally all of them, 4 for 4.
4 for 4. What were the Steelers hit 1, but they missed 3, I think.
The funny part of this game, and we're talking about last night's game, Browns win 24-19 in a snow game that was just fun and sloppy and everything, but the Browns could not convert a third down to save their life. 1 for 10 on third down, 4 for 4 on fourth down. Go fig. Like, only the Browns, only Jameis Winston and the Browns would have some kind of stat line like that.
Well, there was an amazing part. Toward the end of the game, it got all messed up. There was a play where Jameis got sacked and intentionally grounded the ball. Mm-hmm. They said it wasn't intentional grounding because he got hit. So it was 3rd and 7, and he threw the pick.
Yep.
But they were 4th and 2, and it was a 43-yard field goal, and they were not going to send their field goal kicker out to go for the lead because the conditions were so bad. They didn't even trust Dustin Hopkins to hit a game-winning field goal. They were just committing to fourth down because I think they had a lot of confidence we're going to get this. But I think most people were like, oh, here the Browns are giving away a game. The Browns felt like they were going to lose that game. It felt really – I was trying to live bet that one on the Steelers, going to be totally honest.
Yeah.
Couldn't get any odds. It was still like Vegas said, oh, Steelers are winning this entire game up until the very last moment.
No way. I didn't know that. I wasn't following it in that way. It's so funny because even Kirk Herbstreit mentioned it, and Herbstreit is from Ohio. And he's like, man, you gave Russell Wilson a minute left in one timeout. Like, this is probably going to go poorly for the Browns, and the Browns closed him out.
He had 50 seconds here, in that weather.
Those conditions,
that weather definitely was happening. Which is, I don't understand how Jameis Winston was completing those passes. I'm shocked still.
Jerry Jeudy, how about that?
Yeah,
huge
Jerry Jeudy.
Third down.
I was like, can you have more warm weather players on the field? You have Jameis from Florida State, Jeudy from I don't know where Judy's from, but Miami, yeah. Dustin Hopkins, I think, is from this. He went to Florida State, right? So you basically have warm weather players who are making these cold weather plays. Jameis looked like he'd been playing in the snow his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, at times he looked like he had maybe never seen snow before.
James from Alabama, right?
James from Alabama.
Yeah.
Judy from Miami. Ironically, went to Alabama, of course.
And Njoku went to Miami.
But Njoku's from Jersey.
He's from Jersey, so so no explanation why he couldn't catch the ball.
Oh my gosh, dropping that in the end zone. And Al Michaels had the good call where he said you had the second and third tight end made huge catches on that drive, and here's your number one tight end drops a wide open pass in the end zone. He'll never be that wide open again.
I love when Al Michaels couldn't figure out if a field goal or an extra point went through but you couldn't see anything. That was high entertainment.
There was a lot of things they couldn't figure out.
I have that audio, Perloff.
Oh, let's hear it.
28-yard attempt. Corliss Waitman to put it down. Boswell's kick, if he can find it, is good. I don't know. I lost sight of it. Somebody had a GPS on it. 10-6.
They did another thing where they were that was awesome. Where they the broadcast put down electronic lines on the field. So what would often happen is the running back would go into that electronic line and sort of disappear because
into the vortex.
Yeah, I used to work in production on those electronic lines you lay on the field, and like if the running back goes to the right place, his leg disappears. So you had like half of Najee Harris on camera. It was great. And then the guy would come out and what were they doing to the lines and shoveling the lines?
Yep.
It was everything promised. And again, we formally owe you an apology, Maggie Gray.
And you guys are talking about, we're going to catch up on the Penguin. I mean, you thought this game was going to be like a homework assignment, and it turned out to be just an awesome. This is the weather games, and I usually get maligned because I say, put everything in a dome. But these are the kind of games that you sort of look for.
It was teetering on the brink, though. The first half was hot garbage. It was cold and rainy, and both teams were not being able to get a first down. I don't really know. I don't know what to make of this piece. The Browns, their season's over. Like, does this mean anything for them?
So big takeaways, a couple of them. One, every Browns win is ultimately not a good thing. You are in the area now because you are actually one of the teams that needs to get to the top of the draft for a quarterback.
I don't know.
That's always got to be in the back of everybody's mind. Now, maybe you end up getting the second overall pick and you get C.J. Stroud and this works out for you, or not, and you pass on Bryce Young and.
It doesn't feel like it's not a tank for Trevor year, in my opinion. Like
it's not, but they need a quarterback. So that was one thing.
Get Bo Nix went 12. You'll find a quarterback. That is not. This is not a tank year.
It's the Browns. They don't just find quarterbacks. Like this is
honestly,
epic for them to find anyone competent at QB.
They'd be better off getting a different kind of quarterback. If they get the number one pick and pick Shedeur Sanders, that would not go well.
Well, I don't know if this is one of Deion's approved teams. But
I would imagine if there's a team that you don't approve, Cleveland Browns is top of the list. But regardless, okay.
I mean, it's a graveyard for quarterbacks. But anyway, at least there. So that's one thing. Every win for the Browns, ultimately, not a good thing, even though that was exciting and entertaining for all of us.
Don't agree. That's a Maggie take. I do not agree with that.
Another Maggie take. The one thing about this with the Steelers, so obviously they are going to be a playoff team, and they're still leading the division. It's not that. It's just losing games like this when you should have won that game. Like you said it, the Browns were begging the Steelers to just take the game. I mean, you have back-to-back drives with a fumble and then an interception. Like, you've got to win those games on the road. Mm-hmm. And so now the Steelers are getting into the real teeth of the tough schedule that we've been waiting for with them. So at Cincinnati, Cleveland again, at Philly, at Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincinnati.
It all sucks.
This is the part, the no messing around, and you just dropped a game that you should have won.
Right,
so that was another thing.
This is the same season as last year. Last year it was 7-4 and lost games to I think the Cardinals and the Patriots at home. Tomlin loses to bad teams. He'll probably beat all those teams.
Now, this one's a little forgivable because the weather, but still.
But you saw the weakness with the Steelers. And you hand the ball off to Najee Harris, and you know it's going nowhere.
Jaylen Warren is the better option, but sure.
But generally, it feels so much like last year's Steelers to me.
Right. So it's got shades of it, sure, but I just think they're better at QB. So that was another thing with the Steelers. You gave away a game that you should have had. Should have is maybe a strong word, but a game that was there for you to take, and that could come back to bite you because your schedule gets a lot harder now. The third Maggie take out of this is I do think that the Justin Fields short yardage thing can work. Now, it came in, it kind of got a little thrown off in the first half because they brought in Justin Fields in a third down situation. They immediately got a false start. And it's like, the offensive linemen weren't ready for the cadence or the different cadence or something that Justin Fields was using. Did you remember that when that happened?
Yeah, but
so
even
it's like, I think
okay.
they kind of went away from it for a little, got him scared off a little bit, and maybe this is just a thing that's going to work better at home. I don't know, where the crowd's not against you, but I do think this could work and help them in the red zone.
Who cares?
Help them in the red zone.
I mean, we're talking marginal for a team that is not going to be consistent offensively with Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator, and their defense is great, but I mean, how many games are you going to win 19-17 in this league? I don't know what to do. They're probably going to lose their wild card game for the umpteenth year in a row. Probably play Houston in the first round in Houston, and just, I don't know. I just feel like the same Steelers that people have been complaining about being in this limbo land of good, not great.
Yeah, but they should be able to win that first round playoff game. That should likely be a home game for them if they can finish the season strong, right?
Well, I was actually looking at this. I think if they don't win the division, it depends. If they don't win the division, then it's not a home game because they'll go on the road.
It's just, is there a shot for them to still win the division? They're still on top, and they still have another game against the Ravens who they can beat.
So the highest, I mean, I would think that it's going to be tough with that schedule that you laid out for them to be any higher than the 3 seed. Even that game is going to be tough. I'm not sure. I don't know that this is the year that Tomlin breaks through and wins a playoff game again. I'm not sure. I bet you
pebble in my shoe.
If you put out to Pittsburgh fans, I'll bet you they're worried. It's the same old Steelers.
Well, Greg's in the chat, so the Steelers are done and done in the playoffs. Did he mean one and done? Point taken.
Probably.
855-212-4227. Your thoughts on the game last night? Did you love watching the snow? I think the obvious answer is yes there. Of course, do you think the Justin Fields change-up can work? EJ, look like you want to say something about this game.
I just feel like we saw why the Steelers are going to waste everybody's time in the postseason. I just feel like that's the kind of game where you're playing against a miserable Browns team that dominated them for the first half. Because, like, as bad as the football was, the weather wasn't as bad in the first half, and the Browns were outplaying the Steelers. And it's because the Steelers' offense, even though Russell Wilson, I think, was 11 for 13 in the first half, for some reason, like, they make plays and complete passes, but it leads to no points. And I just think when you play against the top teams, or you're playing Josh Allen, or you're playing Lamar, or you're playing the Chiefs, there's just no chance this is winning football in playoffs. It's playoff time. I know we think, defense, cold weather. Well, there you go. Cold weather game, snow. You couldn't beat Jameis Winston. Get this team out of here. They're not a real playoff team. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a team that would say, Mike Tomlin, the mystique of the Steelers. Do they upset, the Chargers or something in the first round? Maybe. Are they going on anywhere? No. And I think until they find a real quarterback, a future, franchise kind of guy, I think this is going to be what they are.
Listen, I understand. It's a fair point. I understand you're not going to be like trying to get better when your schedule gets this hard, like trying new things. But don't you think there's a possibility their red zone offense can become better at some point? It can't get any worse. It's so bad. And Arthur Smith did at one point, their offensive coordinator, did have a good red zone offense when he had Derrick Henry. What's the common denominator? You got to keep running the ball.
Well, the thing is, they don't run the ball effectively.
Yeah.
Well, last night it was tough.
I mean, this year,
Myles Garrett was on one.
Najee Harris is
too,
averaging 3.9 yards per carry this year. It's just not. They're really not that effective as a running team. The other thing too is in the playoffs, it's become very clear what's going on with the Steelers. They're such a one-trick pony. Yeah. Their offense is a lob to George Pickens. You don't think someone's going to double team George Pickens in the playoffs? So
where was Mike Williams last night? He's not healthy.
They said he was banged up during the game.
There's no Mike Williams. That's not happening. It's their one play that works is throwing a lob to George Pickens.
Man, they were connected to every wide receiver under the sun in the offseason. It is such a shame that the Steelers never actually got any of those guys. Like, I know Ayuk ended up getting hurt, but still, Ayuk, Cooper. Well, Cooper probably wasn't going to happen in division, but any of these guys, Devontae Adams, anybody.
I don't know that it matters. I honestly think this is a Mike Tomlin team. I'm not sure that he's going to allow the offense to open up in any real way. EJ had a good point, like maybe get a new quarterback. Like they're overdue a rebuild offensively or a rehaul, and they kind of playing like same old Steelers.
Well, where's the quarterback coming from? You're picking in the 20s.
They tried picking at 21. I don't know.
That's kind of why I think this Russ season, that's been a good season. I know it sounds like a diss to him, but I think he's playing really well for them. Yeah. In some ways, I think it's like the worst thing that could have happened. Because now I think you have no choice but to sign him to a multi-year deal and go with this for a couple of years. And I just don't know where that takes you. If you're trying to win a Super Bowl.
35.
If Russ could still run, if he could run like he used to, man, he'd be effective right now. But he ran once and got a first down. The announcer's like, whoa, did you see that?
He also got pile drive by Myles Garrett a couple times.
Fountain of youth. Goodness. No, he got the sideline once. He really has slowed down tremendously.
Well, and especially in the snow, that's not going to work.
Yeah,
855-212-4227.
He's 35. He's not 100. He should still be able to scramble a little more than he is. But yeah, I worry for our Steelers. Of course, I grew up loving the Steelers. Like they're the AFC. Everybody who wasn't an AFC team loved the Steelers, and there's a mystique about them. But man, they're just in this limbo. 4 straight opening round playoff losses since 2017, and it kind of feels like they might be headed that way again.
All right, you can weigh in. Steelers, Browns, we're on in both cities. We got Steeler fans all over this great country. I'm sure some transplanted Browns fans all over the place, too.
Mr. Unlimited.
Let us know what you think, yes.
Yeah, but all of a sudden Myles Garrett is healthy and runs fast. What's going on with that dude?
That dude. He was
you know how terrible he's been this year?
Well, yeah, but I think he gets up for these TJ Watt games.
I just
head-to-head sort of.
Where is that Browns defense? They've been mediocre at best, and all of a sudden their defense looks like fire last night. Is this just getting up for a division rival, and then they're going to go away again?
Probably. 855-212-4227. All right, Maggie and Perloff, off and running on this Friday. We want you to be a part of the show. We're going to do picks later in the show. Nick Kostos will join us later in the show. We've got so much to do, including, speaking of someone who was on one yesterday, this is an all-timer even from Deion. This guy keeps surprising us. I don't know how. We got a lot of good college games this weekend. We're going to preview them all.
Do you believe that?
Don't move. All right, Perloff's in a good mood today. You want to know why? 2 words. Prize Picks. The best place to get real money sports action while you watch football, while you watch the NBA, college football. All you got to do, download the Prize Picks app. It's so easy to use, and this is how it works. You pick 2 or more players across any sport. You pick more or less on their projection. You can win up to 100 times your money. Guys, in short, it's daily fantasy, and it rocks.
There are so many sports going on right now. Of course, the first thing I do when I wake up is check my Prize Picks app. And tonight, you could bet on Daniel Berger, how many strokes he will have, the golfer today. You can bet on E-games. You can bet on these strange Mac games where you see the quarterback's name and you're like, I don't even know what team he's on. But
I love those.
Yeah, no, tonight is going to be super fun. Every night is fun. It's a blast. Again, first thing I do when I wake up, open my Prize Picks app, see how I did in the late game. All you have to do is download the Prize Picks app and use code MNP, and you get a $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly for playing just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P. You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I think I have this right. Did you know that Mike Tomlin, the Steelers coach, has never won Coach of the Year? That's what I believe. Someone fact check that. Regardless, he is now getting a lot of buzz for Coach of the Year. And people are saying last night, like Steelers fans are saying, oh, we blew the Coach of the Year for Tomlin last night, but you can't lose to the Browns and be Coach of the Year. I totally disagree. I feel like this is
Is that like a stock thing? It's like, well, you can't lose to the Browns.
No,
is that
no.
how Stefanski keeps winning because he's actually the coach of the Browns?
Well, the argument is that Coach of the Year would not lose to one of the bottom 5 teams in the league. But I disagree. I feel like where the NFL is right now, all these bottom 5 teams in division, like good teams are going to lose these games. Like people forget the last back end of the final 9 of the NFL season. There's going to be like 50 games like this. Where I'm sure the Chiefs are going to drop a game that they shouldn't. Like remember last year the Chiefs lost to Raiders. So my point is like don't read too much into the Browns beating the Steelers. This is a tough divisional game. The Browns still stink, and the Steelers are still good. Now the debate is how good. Super Bowl good or just get to the playoffs good? We
are putting that out on X for you at Maggie and Pearl. Steelers still keeping hope alive. They could be a contender, or as EJ said in the first segment, get them out of here. 855-212-4227, paraphrasing. Josh is in Pennsylvania. You're up first here on Maggie and Perloff. Hey, Josh. Joshy.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Hey, so with the weather last night, how are we feeling that as a little preview with the college football playoff games coming up with all these northern teams?
Love it.
I live in the Northeast. It snowed once in 4 years, so I wouldn't definitely guarantee that, Josh.
Yeah, as a Penn State guy, I would love to see these teams like Georgia and these SEC teams have to come up and play in the snow when they've never seen snow, possibly. But sometimes these games are just on a fluke play. And so, like, as a Penn State guy, like, hosting the game, it kind of makes me nervous, too.
How many inches do you need for James Franklin to beat a top 10 team? Like 3.5 feet of snow? Like a real whiteout?
I'm from Erie, so we're used to the snow belt and all the lake effects, so I don't know how much he's used to it himself.
Yeah, so if the college football playoff was today, Penn State would be hosting Georgia. That's a great question. How many inches of snow would it take for that to tilt into Penn State's favor in a real way for James Franklin? I think 5.
I mean,
maybe 7. Josh, thank you.
I would not count on snowy weather these days. It's rained once in a month here in New York City. Like the odds of,
but we're not. But New York City's not getting a game.
Yeah, State College,
Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State, Indiana. All those would have home games if the college football playoff started today. All basically in the Midwest, except for Penn State is technically in the Northeast. This would be last night.
It's not going to be.
It's not lake effect, but it's Midwest. It's bitter cold in the Midwest.
No, it's going to be 45 degrees and dry at all these games, which is probably pretty bad. Because it doesn't. You think it's going to be snowing in Columbus in December? It probably won't.
Can we check a farmer's almanac or something? I don't know how to prove you wrong here, but I don't know also how you're proving me right. Like we both don't know what the weather is going to be.
Yeah, but no, but everyone's assuming, oh man, that Georgia and Alabama is going to have to play in conditions like last night. The odds are quite thin that it's going to snow like that, right?
This is
4 episodes of Thunder Snow.
Yeah, it might.
This is where I think Bogish is going to quit the show.
Wait, what do you think the odds are? Like 1 in 10 chance that it snows for these games? That's not not a reason to bet on Penn State to advance to the Final Four.
No, I'm just shaking my head because you are making declarative statements with negative backing.
You live in the Northeast.
Who do you think you are, the NFL?
Have you gotten your shovel out? You think that the weather's
Which one of these games is being played in Franklin
Square,
Long Island?
Columbus, Ohio is that different than it's not Fairbanks, Alaska?
No one said it was Fairbanks, Alaska, but it's probably going to be cold and maybe it's going to snow when these games go on. That's all anyone said.
Think about it. When you see the game, right? Ohio State, Michigan, there's usually some flurries. Maybe it's not like that. I mean, last night was an all-timer. That kind of snow, it was accumulating on like Mike Tomlin's brim of his hat. You could like measure the snow. That was a unique lake effect situation, but it's definitely going to be
How many
freezing.
snow, again, how many snow games do you think there are in the year, NFL?
Like 3.
Yeah. So what are the odds? There's like 500 games, and 3 of them.
Yeah.
The odds are thin that Georgia is going to have to play in 3 inches of snow.
It'll still be cold, though.
Yeah, it'll be cold, but even so, it's a lot different. Like, I think that I watched him on my Twitter feed. It's like, oh, man. Last night, Albert Breer was like, I can't wait to see how Georgia and Alabama play in weather like this. I'm like, who Albert Breer is an NFL writer who went to Ohio State. I'm like, I want to say, dude, you're not necessarily getting weather like that. But that's the sort of storyline out there that Georgia's going to have to go into these Alaska-like conditions and like bring, they're going to have to get there by mush dog. Well, it's probably going to be 48 degrees in Columbus and dry. That's the most likely scenario.
Maybe, but it's not playing in the Superdome. You know, it's not that. So it's something.
Right. Like, in my lifetime, have I seen Georgia play an important game in winter?
No, but Breer's like, it's going to be like, all right, let's see how Carson Beck does with weather like that last night. I just think there's some presumption on the Big Ten teams that they're going to get complete weather apocalypse.
Well, my big thing is most of these teams, like Penn State, Indiana, Ohio State, don't play in snow. So we keep assuming that they're also going to be good in snow. Yeah. I don't think that's a great assumption.
EJ, where are their players from, too?
Yeah, well, Ohio State, how many players do they have in Florida? I mean, give me a break. Like,
the whole team.
Yeah, like, to me, it's like nobody's played in December. Like, even at Ohio State, they're playing November games. Maybe they get, like, flurries in the last game of the season in Michigan. Otherwise, they never see snow. They don't know what's going to happen when Georgia plays Penn State in the snow. Penn State will probably still get crushed.
Yeah, it's not like Georgia isn't built to run the ball and play defense either. Like, I think it might be a good thing if Carson Beck drops back less. Anyway.
Don't you always look at this, though? I know I do, but that's probably because I have my rooting interests with the Buffalo Bills. Whenever they draft somebody, I always immediately look like, obviously, where do they go to college? Where do they grow up? And did they play any cold weather games? Or are they going to get to Buffalo and all of a sudden be like, what the hell? Because it's tough. It's happened with guys before. I don't think Marcel Darius had ever played in weather that was below 55 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
And there's probably a lot of reasons why he was a bust, but I think that was one of them.
So Keon Coleman, any cold weather experience?
He went to Michigan State. It was amazing.
Well, by the way, Josh Allen, I know he went to Wyoming. He grew up in the desert.
Yes,
I've been there. He literally grew up like on an olive farm.
Yeah, but then he went to Laramie, and it's 60-mile-an-hour winds is like normal.
Yeah. Remember EJ Manuel?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about that.
That's like the one with the Eagles draft Carson Wentz, where like he's used to playing outdoor cold weather, but he played in a dome his entire college career. So you have no idea. I think that's a hard way to predict because you always say your Bills team plays like an indoor team.
Well, not this year, but enough about the Bills. We're talking about cold weather. We're talking about last night, snow globe game, awesome. And are we going to get some of this for the college football? The new playoff has 4 teams hosting first-round games, and if the playoff ended today, it's all cold weather teams.
And the narrative I'm seeing is most Big Ten fans think that the weather is their only super weapon, and that's how Penn State is getting out of this game. And by the way, Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten title game. Are they?
That's inside.
Yeah, how many outdoor games are they going to actually play? I don't know that this narrative is going to carry through.
By the way, for you looking numbers, Pearl, this would actually help you. Last year in December, it looks like Pennsylvania got, I'm looking at 3 inches of snow for the whole month.
Of course.
Yeah, it's different now than when we were kids.
It feels that way. I don't want to get into that topic.
That's
but
for another show.
Yeah,
according to weather.gov.
What do they know?
3 inches.
Sorry.
3 inches is enough to take Jalen Milroe off his game. Can you imagine? He's from Houston. He's never seen snow.
Just need a dusting. That's all.
Yeah. By the way, I personally, I know we got to get to the update. Penn State and Indiana are ranked way too high anyway. They should not be hosting these games. That's all I will say. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Really big game this weekend. Indiana going to the Horseshoe. We'll get more into it next, but Bogusch has headlines. Hi.
And they're sponsored by LinkedIn. Let LinkedIn's deep candidate insights help you find your next Pro Bowl hire today. To post your job for free, go to linkedin.com/recruitment. Terms and conditions apply. Bogusch. I'm still glad I went to bed at halftime, but it does feel like Maggie was right. Thursday Night Football gave us fourth quarter drama in a snow globe and the full Jameis Winston experience.
I am so happy and grateful that the Lord has blessed me to play in some snow, to be in true football weather in Cleveland, Ohio at Huntington Bank Field today to give him the glory. It's a beautiful day.
That was
I believe
pregame.
him. I believe him.
Yeah,
I don't think this is an act.
That was pregame. He was just warming up after the Browns rallied for a 24-19 win over the Steelers. Jameis added this.
It was beautiful for these fans, man. I appreciate everybody that came out here in these conditions, and I just pray that everyone gets home safely. All right, please celebrate. All right, but please get home safely.
Call him when you're home. Just text him that you made it. Winston ran for the touchdown that gave his Browns an 18-6 lead early in the fourth, but then the Steelers scored twice in 100 seconds for a 1-point lead. But then Nick Chubb scored from 2 yards out with 57 seconds left. Grant Delpit knocked down a Russell Wilson Hail Mary for the 24-19 victory. That's how the Steelers' 5-game win streak ends. Russ assumes they'll be okay.
I think the biggest thing is that, in any moment, we got a lot of football left. We got a lot of opportunities to respond in the highest way, highest level. I think that, everything that we want is still in front of us.
The Steelers are in Cincinnati after this mini bye. They are still a game ahead of the Ravens in the loss column atop the AFC North.
We are desperately missing a Russell Wilson catchphrase.
Well, you gave him one. He just didn't take it.
Let's meld, or what was it?
Let's weld.
Let's weld. Yeah, no, it's not going to work. No, I think so. I think if he continues to play well, one's going to come. It's just going to come out of him. He's going to stick with it. I think he's going to have one. I mean, he looked up. That's, by the way, one of the best Russ games I've ever seen in my life last night. I can't believe some of the throws he made.
Mr. Unlimited.
But,
I mean, if he couldn't get a catchphrase after they won their 5th in a row, maybe the one's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Has he learned his lesson?
I think that's what's happened.
I think you might be right.
Hey, you got to cut that out, man.
Maybe he's had like 10 and just like workshopping them. Like, no.
Secret.
yeah, there's probably a conversation in Mike Tomlin's office where Russ is like, how about this one? And he's like, nope. How about this one? Nope.
Maybe Tomlin's like, leave that stuff to me. Like,
Yeah, I'm the
got
word guy.
Yeah, I'm the guy.
You know I'm a degenerate.
I'm the one who knocks when it comes to the catchphrase.
Brock Purdy and his shoulder again limited at Niners practice yesterday. Kyle Shanahan says his QB did do more in that workout than Wednesday's, but there are still multiple hurdles to clear before Purdy plays Sunday at Lambeau. The Lakers' 6-game win streak and perfect start at home are over, thanks to Anthony Davis and Franz Wagner.
Magic going to have a shot to tie or win it. Franz backs away. Now Reddish. Wagner, step back. 3 ball is up. It's in! Franz stuck it! 119, 118, 2.5 seconds on the clock. Timeout Lakers.
The Franz Wagner go-ahead 3 coming after Davis missed 2 free throws. Orlando stealing a 119-118 win in L.A. Wagner scored 15 of his 37 in the fourth. The Spurs won their 2nd in a row without Wemby and his bruised knee, 126-118 over the Jazz. And the Raptors topped the T-Wolves 110-105. R.J. Barrett scoring 31.
He's so good.
I was just going to say, somehow that made Manny be confident and cocky in the newsroom this morning.
71% shooting from the field. I am right about R.J. Barrett.
Oh, this is I was right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have an agenda.
How many dunks in that mix? He's the only 6'7" guy who can't dunk the ball.
Wait, also, wasn't he in the trade for OG?
Yeah,
right. Yeah, your team's so much better with OG.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm still correct about RJ. I had an agenda, and I'm sticking to it. And you know what? Go RJ.
He's the most boring player.
Well, all right.
Oh, my God.
Whatever. Who cares? You're one of your best players on the Sixers. He does TikTok dances for likes and stuff after you guys go 2-12 to start the season.
By the way, on Prize Picks tonight, Jared McCain, if you want to get in on that, 18.5 points. You can go more or less on that, more than, less than.
Mand P.
Yes, use the promo code.
I do share Maggie's confusion. What do you think you're right about if you agree that OG Anunoby makes the Knicks better than RJ Barrett did?
There's just a lot of conversation about the type of player that RJ Barrett is. Some people think he's a bum. I think he's a very good basketball player, and he's continuing to show that up north. So,
but you're happy he's on the Knicks.
When you say a lot of conversation, I'm going to
walk away, Maggie.
Okay, I mean a lot of conversation in some circles, not like in America.
When you get into Knicks Twitter, Maggie, it feels like you're in a vortex.
I've been there.
It feels like nothing else exists. So
I'm a conscientious objector.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've done it. I don't think it leads us to a productive place. Back to you, Bogus.
Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge are unanimous MVPs. Ohtani is the 12th to win 3 in a 4-year span and just the second to do it within the first 7 years of his career. Men's college hoops in the Bahamas. Number 13, Baylor outlasting number 22, St. John's, 99-98 in double OT, a buzzer-beating 3 from former Duke guard Jeremy Roach. And the Washington Capitals said yesterday Alex Ovechkin's out 4 to 6 weeks, a broken left fibula that pauses his pursuit of Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. Then they lost to the Avalanche at night, 2-1.
Wait, broken fibula, 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah, I got a crack in the bone.
Doesn't that feel like that should be like a lot longer injury?
I'm guessing it's not a terrible break.
Yeah, broken leg sounds serious. And by the way, why'd you bury it? You got me so into the Ovechkin story, and now you're sort of putting it on hold?
You wanted it ahead of Franz Wagner?
Well, no, I mean, just saying, like, this was a huge narrative that he was going to top Gretzky. You were building a lot of excitement out there in the audience.
And Bogus' fault he got hurt.
And maybe I put it last so you'd have a chance to respond to it right here.
No, I just think that's sad because I was really excited to do the Ovechkin tops Gretzky thing. Now we have to wait. Is he ever going to do it? I love asking Bogus hockey.
Maybe not this year
questions like he's Pierre Maguire.
I love also how you feel like Bogus can definitely see the future when it comes to hockey. But when it comes to the weather, it's just like, no, I know what's going to happen.
Bogus, what do you think about Mika Zibanejad and how this will affect the play in March?
Yes.
RJ Barrett's good.
No, Perloff's right. This is kind of a bummer because this could have been a really fun thing, and now it feels like it's definitely getting punted to next season.
By the way, another win for like hockey tough guys. Like this guy was just playing, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, he's out. We got to figure out what's going on. Oh, his leg is broken.
It's always like that with hockey. It's like, no, he was decapitated actually back in
upper
training
body
camp.
Injury.
It's funny. He still played 3 games, but should have that ahead. So odd. No, hockey players are insane. Bogus, thank you so much. We've got a lot to do, including, as I said, major college games this weekend. Deion Sanders is in full effect. We bring it all to you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Do you believe that? Deion. You believe that?
Check in with Deion Sanders. Colorado Buffalo's massive game this weekend against Kansas. Kansas have been, Perloff, the Big 12 killers. BYU, Iowa State, they've just been not ending for BYU, but they've been throwing a wrench into some college football playoff hopes for a lot of teams. Now, Kansas is hosting this game, but it's not on campus. It's actually at Arrowhead Stadium, which is also a little bit different. So, Colorado, 16th ranked team, and Travis Hunter is now and has been the favorite for the Heisman Trophy. Can we first? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, do they need to win out for him? Does it affect the wins and
For the
losses?
Heisman, I don't think so, but they must win out to make the college football playoff.
I heard it's interesting to take Travis Hunter because if he has a bad game wide receiver, he's still the best cornerback on the planet. So
I think he's got it.
He's got to be. He can't have a bad game like a quarterback. Like Cam Ward can throw 4 picks. I don't think. What could Travis Hunter do that's bad?
Well, here's the thing: he could get hurt, and Ashton Genty could, continue to, rush for 200 yards a game or score 4 touchdowns in a game or something like that. I think that's probably his biggest competition. Maybe EJ's pick is Cam Ward, possible, but I think now it's Hunter or Genty would be my guess.
Yeah, the loss to Georgia Tech makes it tough for Cam.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear from Deion because he was on one yesterday. First, he was talking about Travis Hunter. And he was talking about not just the Heisman, but all of the awards that the two-way star should win, including one that Deion just made up.
I mean, he should win the Thorpe, Biletnikoff, the Jerry Rice, the Prime Award. He should win every darn award that you got. Matter of fact, why don't they have me an award, Rick? Wouldn't that be good if a player that played for me win the Prime? Yeah, they should. They're the best corner in the college football. They should be called a Prime.
God, I would rather die than have to be a media member in Colorado fake laughing at Deion press conference things. I'd rather be any job on planet Earth than that. Is that the worst? You guys have all had to do it. Oh, that's a good one, Deion.
Are you okay, Pearl?
So salty.
No.
Oh my
goodness. That was a very specifically enough. You heard that media laugh. Manny heard it, right? Like that was like, oh God. It's not even Deion's line. It's the media. Oh God, you're so funny, Deion. That sucks.
Deion's number one hater.
No, I like Deion. I just hate everybody.
How phony it all feels.
Yeah. Any press conference, like any coach gets up there, like I'm sure.
How that happens every day.
Tomlin gets a lot of fake. Like, I don't care about the Deion stuff. I'm just saying the media has to fake laugh at a line. That was like what, a B- dad joke? Why is there a Deion award? And I get it because you're just like kind of so nervous to get through this like press conference. You've probably fake laughed at a press conference.
I've definitely fake laughed at a press conference, but here's the thing. Usually press conferences are so boring. It's like paint drying that you're just so happy when someone says something somewhat interesting. Like, it was like Rex Ryan was doing high comedy out at the Jets. It was such a relief. He'd come out wearing wigs and stuff. Like, this is Deion, might as well be Nate Bargatze. Like, that's as good as it gets. Because coaches are generally not funny.
I kind of thought it was a funny line.
You were real laughing.
For Deion, was that really a good line for Deion, though?
It was kind of...
He says funnier things 5 times a day than that.
The idea that he's naming actual people and then he says Prime Award, I found that funny. I was like,
also,
they'll probably call it the Deion Sanders if they did. They would not call it the Prime Award.
The other part, too, is it'd be a little hard for Travis Hunter to win the Jerry Rice Award, considering that's given out to an FCS student. That's not FBS. This is a different division. That wasn't all that was on the docket yesterday for Colorado. Again, big game coming up against Kansas at Arrowhead this weekend. They got a huge commitment yesterday from Julian Lewis. They call him Juju Lewis, one of the top quarterbacks for the next class, Perloff. Here was Julian Lewis, Juju, on the Pat McAfee show, taking a picture with Shador, and Shador is handing him the keys to a car, and following him at CU.
I mean, of course, it was big for me just coming in after Shador, just seeing what he's done to Colorado and what he's turned it into. But it's definitely a blessing getting put in this position, coming after him and with his dad. I mean, I couldn't beat it.
More from Juju Lewis. The opportunity to compete for QB1 is what convinced him to go to Colorado.
I mean, Coach Prime's always said, like, the best man's going to play, and that's really what I wanted, was to be able to come in and compete, start as a freshman. I mean, I wouldn't have much fun sitting on the bench, so I was like, I want to come in somewhere I can get a chance to play, so he's going to let me compete for that. That was big for me.
Manny. Poor Juju.
Do you know Juju Lewis already has, I think, 6 corporate sponsors, NIL deals already? Like,
of course he does.
I was wondering, what is the paycheck and where is that money coming from for Colorado? Where was he going to go? USC before? So, man, something's going right there. But is Deion going to wait around for a freshman quarterback? I kind of curious how this is going to work out.
Well, that's the interesting part because the Deion NFL stuff has been really picking up a lot of steam, even though Deion consistently says he does not want to coach in the NFL. It's like no one believes him. And so now that he's got a top quarterback coming to replace Shador, does this mean he's definitely staying at Colorado?
That's the implication, right?
Well, the other part, too, is I don't know how many big jobs are going to open up that seem like an obvious place for Deion to go. Florida has given the vote of confidence to Billy Napier. That was going to be an opening maybe that could have been there for Deion. I don't think Florida State's moving on for Norvell, and maybe that ship sailed anyway.
Maybe next year, though.
Possible.
Yeah.
Maybe he brings Juju Lewis
maybe
with
LSU.
him.
Maybe if Lane Kiffin moves around there. I mean, well, actually, I guess Ole Miss would not be that big of an upgrade. Maybe not this year, but next year there could be. Plus, I mean, he keeps saying no to the NFL. Does he protest too much? I mean, if
Cowboy
Shador
job's going to be open.
If Shador goes to a place with a coaching vacancy, wouldn't he be tempted just to coach his son? That I feel like is the only special sauce that would make him jump.
It kind of would track with Deion, just because I don't think Deion would trust another coaching staff maybe to coach his son. Maybe he does. I don't know. But he's been Shador's coach whole time.
Exactly. It feels like such a natural fit, but he keeps saying, what was his line the other day? Put a kickstand on this one?
Yeah, he's got a kickstand down in Colorado. Something like that. Oh, that Deion. Perloff's had enough. That came out of nowhere.
I wish everybody was watching the video just to see Pearl and his disdain for that laughter.
YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet. Coming up. Oh, a lot for you.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Shotgun from the 2, Chubb the back. Jameis the snap. Give the Chubb. Chubb running. Chubb! Touchdown! Nick Chubb did it. He stayed on his feet. The Browns take the lead. 57 seconds to go. And the Browns lead the Steelers 24-19.
Thank you to the Browns Radio Network, and that would be the final score on this one. Nick Chubb, 2 touchdowns last night, but the story of the game was really the weather, Perloff. I mean, the second half was unreal to watch from the comforts of your own home.
Oh, yeah.
Those poor Browns fans out there, but they seem to be loving it. They got rewarded with a win. I mean, 3 wins now on the season, but it was the ultimate NFL snow globe weather game.
Yeah, the second half. I think the ultimate moment was when Jameis Winston ran to the end zone and somehow jumped into midair and flew through the snow. What a beautiful image. And that, for some reason, the orange helmets just were really popping.
Yeah.
That was great. You couldn't really tell what was going on the field, per se.
Yeah, everyone was lost. The audience, broadcast. I mean, listen, I understand it, though. It's hard to tell sometimes what's going on, whether a field goal is up and in. You know, there was a lot of confusion around one penalty at the end of the game and whether it was going to be accepted or not accepted. Was it going to be 3rd and 7? Was it going to be 4th and 2? It was this whole situation. But we got through it, and it was a ton of fun. Now, as far as like the long-term outlook on what this means for either team, to me, I still think the Steelers have a shot here. I like the use of Justin Fields, like the idea of it. I just wish the execution of play calling with Fields was a little bit better because, Perloff, I think that the whole game flipped when it was about 4.5 minutes left to go. The Steelers, who were down 12 heading into the fourth quarter, took the lead 19-18. They bring Fields into the game for Russell Wilson to try to salt the game away or just end the game on the ground. They do 2 run plays, but then go away from it with a pass play that ends up falling incomplete, and they end up punting the ball away. The Cleveland scores on the next possession.
Yeah, I just think the Steelers, the same problems they've had the last 3 or 4 years. I just don't think their offense is good enough to make any real noise in the AFC playoffs. They're around 19th, 20th in total offense. Their run game is not consistent. It's not great. Najee Harris is averaging 3.9 yards per carry. It feels like when they line up on first down and run, not even last night, like always, it's like, really? Haven't we seen enough of this, Mike Tomlin? I'm just not sure this approach is going to win for them. Feels like their only major differentiator is long passes to George Pickens. Can't you figure that out? I don't know why that guy's on a double team. Who is going to beat you on that team? How many Pat Freiermuth is it going to 8-yard catch you down the field? I just think the Steelers are not varied enough on offense to do anything.
Well, yeah, it's going to be hard, but I just wonder if there's another. Like, why can't they figure out the red zone thing? I guess I just don't understand it. Is it because they don't have enough weapons? Is it because of the play design? Is it because of Russ? Like, I don't know why the red zone has just been so terrible for them this year. And
they're not a good offense. They're a bottom 10 offense.
I know, but some of the times I feel like it's not because of the personnel that's so bad.
It's not great.
They had a 2-point conversion that they tried that was the lowest percentage play that could possibly exist. You mentioned it. You've got Freiermuth. You've got other tight ends. You've got Pickens. You've got 2 running backs. You've got a mobile quarterback who's sitting on the bench. And you decide to throw this ridiculous fade into the corner that has 0.0% of chance of being caught in good weather, let alone what we saw last night, which was just a snowstorm. Like, I don't get that stuff. Like, there's got to be a better play call there for even a 2-point conversion, and that's, again, more goal line stuff.
But this is Steelers. They have no margin for error. You know every game is going to be close. So that's the problem. Eventually, like, you can't keep winning that way. It's been the story. They feel so much like last year to me, where they started off pretty hot, then they lost a bunch of games that they shouldn't have because there's just way too many close games for them. It's how Tomlin wants to win. I'm not sure that it's updated enough to get to the next level. And I know I'm speaking the same language as Steelers fans. We talked to Andrew Filipponi, the local host in Pittsburgh, and he's like, they're frustrated. The team's good enough to make the playoffs, but not great. And that's what we've been seeing this year. They're good, but are they great? And I don't think so.
We were talking about what this means for the Steelers, like moving forward. We've got to pull up Maggie and Pearl on X. Are the Steelers a sneaky contender or get them out of here? And right now it's really close, 51% to 49. 51 say get them out, 49 say sneaky contender. So there's still a lot of belief. But EJ, you made a point last hour, and I think it's a good one worth exploring, which is the Steelers are in first place in their division. Not sure if that's going to hold necessarily, but they are going to be a playoff team. And say you have the same thing as always, you lose a playoff game, or maybe you even win and break that drought, and then you lose maybe in the second round or whatever. Is this going to fool the Steelers into giving Russell Wilson a long-term deal? And when I say long-term, probably 2 years for real. Not 4, but like 2-year deal.
Kind of like Rams and Matthew Stafford are right now.
Right. Give him some salary bump.
I would say definitely.
Right, and that ultimately, is that the best thing for them? Now, to me, I know, EJ, you said they've got to get a quarterback. They've got to fix this thing. And while I agree with you, I don't think that answer is right in front of their face. It doesn't feel obvious when you're going to be picking in the 20s again to all of a sudden, find your franchise quarterback. So I don't know if I hate it. I don't know if I necessarily hate having Russ there for another year. Maybe you end up trying to figure out, who is the quarterback of the future? Russ can groom that guy. I don't know.
Well, it's all about, your expectations, right? And I think Pearl made a good point. I'm thinking about what I keep hearing from Steeler fans, which is they are sick and tired of being kind of good, making the playoffs, and then losing to the Chiefs or losing to somebody in the first round, kind of just anonymously, that we kind of forget they were even in the playoffs. And it just feels like, even though Russ is having this very solid season, that is their ceiling. Their ceiling is they're going to go to the playoffs, they're going to lose in the first round, and then that'll be the end of it. We'll say, wow, look at how Mike Tomlin got that ragamuffin offense to the playoffs.
Right.
And for them, that's not good enough. For those fans, that's not good enough. So if that's your expectation is Super Bowl, then this is not going to work. There's always expectation of the question of, well, what do you do if you don't bring Russ back? There might not be a great answer, but I just know that the Steelers fans are frustrated with constantly going to playoffs and winning no games or being not a real threat in the Super Bowl. And it feels like that's going to be the same situation. They're going to go to the playoffs and not be a threat to make a run.
Well, how about this formula? Keep Russ and draft a second-round quarterback, which isn't really something that works that often. I mean, once in a while, you'll get a Jalen Hurts. Usually, you'll get a Drew Lock. So, I don't know. There's got to be a second-round quarterback. Would you be happy? Would you buy that theory, Maggie?
Well, it's going to have to depend who it is, obviously, and not to be a cop-out answer, but...
No, I mean, I think you can see trends. You generally know, you have a much better chance getting a guy in the top 5 and then a developmental guy. But I don't think, you point out in the show, they're not going to draft in the top 20, so they're not going to have that quarterback. You know who they've been linked to in the past? I was thinking about some of the names. Kirk Cousins they liked. Maybe you switch up and you trade for Kirk Cousins, who Atlanta's probably going to want to get out of.
Yeah, but aren't you in the same situation? You got a mid-30s quarterback, and he's not your answer.
No, I know, but I mean, Russ is a free agent, isn't he? So they're basically starting from scratch.
You know what they need? They need to find their Matthew Stafford. And when I say that, a guy who maybe is on a losing team but has great talent, and if you put them on the Steelers, they'd be great. The guy
wasn't that also kind of Russ?
Well,
no, I think Russell Wilson's short. He doesn't throw the ball over the middle great.
No, I'm saying he was on a bad team in Denver, but he has talent. He's a Super Bowl winner. Maybe
but
they
I think
thought
a guy who you look at is almost like a supernova in terms of his actual physical traits. I kind of wonder, can they find a way to make a trade for Trevor Lawrence? To me, do you need something like that? You need something.
Why
where
would the Jags do that?
Maybe they need a hard restart. They got a guy paying a quarterback $50 million, and they're nowhere close to winning. Maybe they say, this isn't working out. Let's give Trevor somewhere where he can go win. Look, it took the Lions 10 years to do that for Stafford, so maybe it's too early for Lawrence. But I think they need something like that to happen.
Honestly, I think Baker feels like he's more of the Steelers variety, but he just got a contract extension with Tampa.
But I think EJ's saying somebody with gigantically high upside, where Baker is closer to Russ, where good is the upside, not great.
But to your point, think how long Stafford had to be in Detroit to finally
I got one.
Make that trade.
He's in New York right now, or New Jersey. How about Aaron Rodgers?
To the Steelers?
Yeah.
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
Good drop, Manny. That's a guy with upside. He's going to have the Brett Favre next. I mean, he's going to throw 36 touchdowns and 8 picks next year. Might as well be in Pittsburgh. No, he would probably die there, but still. I mean, why not?
Because the offensive line?
If Rodgers is floating around,
much better than the Jets.
You have a choice between Russ and you think that Aaron Rodgers will be healthy next year.
I would not wish. Guys know I love Aaron Rodgers. I would not wish him having to go up against Myles Garrett twice a year.
He's a bum
at all. That feels
Wait a minute.
like elder abuse.
If there's a world where Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin can all be in the same building, if they don't make that into a reality show, what a miss.
That'd be another guy trying to steal Mike Tomlin's gimmick, because isn't Aaron Rodgers' thing using weird words in press conferences, just like Tomlin does?
To shoot a hostage, if you will.
Tomlin's inserting weird words? I didn't even know. Is that why he makes such nonsense?
He always inserts weird phrases and words, and yeah.
No, Tomlin, just has like that way of sort of the way he talks to the media. We thought Aaron Rodgers was playing a trick on everybody for a while, where he was putting like words from the dictionary, obscure words, and trying to work them into sentences.
You proved that was happening. That happened.
I believe that happened.
You laid it out exactly. I totally believe that happened. I got a second-round quarterback for you, by the way. Ooh.
Oh, go ahead.
Look at Mel Kiper's big board of quarterbacks. The number 7th ranked quarterback is Drew Aller out of Penn State. 7, I presume, is second round. There you go.
You're going to do another thing where you're basically drafting the guy down the street?
Yes, exactly.
That worked out terribly with
You're
Pickett.
saying he's Kenny Pickett 2.0?
Is he even Pickett? No, Aller's fine. But I don't like that.
I mean,
Can you get away from the state of Pennsylvania to try to find somebody?
Curtis Rourke is number 8. That'd be exciting.
See what he does this weekend against Ohio State.
No, it's a tricky spot. It's limbo. Like this happens in the NBA. That's where the Steelers are. They're good enough to make the playoffs, not good enough. By the way, their Super Bowl odds did drop after last night's loss. They're now tied with the Chargers and the Texans as the 4th team in the AFC. I think the one thing about last night's loss, if they'd gone to 9-2, they would have had a real good shot at the first round bye. Now that seems off the table. So I think you have to downgrade them a little bit just based on that.
Can I tell you another team's odds that dropped? Not odds, but the draft order. What happened last night because of that Browns W?
The Giants went up?
The Giants went up.
Thank you, Cleveland.
So Cleveland would have been picking 3rd in the draft. That's where they were slotted before this game. Now they're down all the way to 7th. And obviously the rest of Week 12's got to play out. But these wins, while they're fun, and I'm glad for the fans in Cleveland, you got a fun, very memorable snow game yesterday, it is not helping your pursuit for the heir apparent to Deshaun Watson.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. Yeah, I don't know if that's this draft. I don't know if it's a tanking draft. It's supposed to be a bad draft, right? That's what they're saying. It does not. I mean, honestly, look at the quarterbacks you're tanking for. Are you really going to tank for some of these guys?
Listen, you cannot have Deshaun Watson out there next year. That's just plain and simple. You know?
Got it.
Woof, woof is right.
I can't argue on that one.
Okay, you're welcome to weigh in on the Steelers or the Browns. 855-212-4227. Awesome game, snow game, just everything we love about watching football this time of year. In the meantime, we did get the news yesterday, and we don't do tons and tons of hockey on the show, but this one deserves our attention. Alex Ovechkin is out 4 to 6 weeks with a broken fibula. Okay, so he got a broken leg, but he is hot on the trail of Wayne Gretzky and breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals scored record. Now, Ovi had been just red hot and thought, wow, this could come this season, Pearl. We thought it might have to come next season. Well, now he's got a broken leg, so now everything is on hold. Kevin is in Oregon, wants to talk about it. Hey, Kev.
Hey there. I'm a retired surgeon. I wasn't a bone doctor, but I know enough about it to tell you the fibula, which Ovechkin broke, is the same bone that Isaiah Pacheco broke. It's a non-weight-bearing bone, and for an uncomplicated fracture, it's a 4 to 6 week recovery time. Now, speaking of orthopedic surgeons, the National Orthopedic Surgeon Library burned to the ground. I mean, it was a real tragedy. Both books were completely destroyed, and one of them hadn't even been colored in yet.
Is that some kind of doctor joke?
I'm sorry. That's the best I could do. But yeah, the Pacheco, I mean, Ovechkin.
Was that some kind of sick burn on orthopedic surgeons?
Sorry.
Wait, Kevin, what kind of surgeon were you? Were you like that you looked down upon the... Oh, he hung up. Was that some kind of doctor joke?
Wait, are orthopedic surgeons not well thought of?
Apparently not.
Maybe.
They're big in our world.
Yeah, that's all I know. So brain surgeons that's the top of the food chain, I think.
Do you power rank surgeons?
It must as you go down the body, it gets less and less important.
I'm actually kind of shocked that there's any bone in your lower body that's not weight bearing.
Yeah, actually, I think I saw a graph on that with some player the other day where like this bone's okay. I don't know. Which one what's the song? The knee bone is technically connected to the hip bone, as I recall, as a kid.
I think they're all weight bearing though, but obviously, Kevin's going to know more than us. I think top of the food chain has got to be either brain surgeon or
heart surgeon.
A transplant surgeon.
I think
it's got to be
good
up
answer.
there.
Good answer.
I think it's brain surgeon is number one.
But what about people like who have back surgery? I mean, that's pretty intense.
I feel like back surgery is like maybe the highest degree of difficulty. I feel like that never works.
Or it does. I mean, you just got to have a real steady hand.
There are so many people who have back surgery that say never get back surgery. Steve Kerr being one of them.
Yeah. My mom got back surgery, though, and she needed it, and she's great now.
That's great. And some people, it works out great, and then you become Ben Simmons. Like, it's or Larry Johnson, who's a great player, but never was the same. Like, there's a big controversy about whether or not if back surgery is really like the answer for depending on what your injury is. Sometimes you have no choice. If you fracture your back or whatever, sometimes you have no choice. But that's a whole thing.
Totally. Avoid surgery at all costs. Did you see yesterday, Jair Alexander, the Packers corner, has a torn PCL, and he's like kind of day to day. I was like, what is going on here? They don't know. He's like, well, I'm not sure. I could probably play on it. I was like, what does that mean? EJ, that's your territory now that you know the knee so well.
No, I saw that too, and I was like, I guess maybe it's a minor tear. Maybe it's not,
some guys also tear their meniscus, and they're back in 3 weeks. These guys are insane.
You know what? They're trying to do these really short-term remedies on these guys. So who knows, they're shooting it up with cortisone or what have you, just
like
to get out there.
tightrope surgery or something like that.
Yeah, like EJ had time to heal, and so that's great. You get the luxury of time, right? Nate is in Alaska. He's our pal who once watched a bear pull up to a drive-through KFC in Alaska. Hey, Nate.
First off, all you got to throw Alaska underneath the bus whenever I tune in. All because of a snowy football game.
Did I say? I'm like, this isn't Fairbanks, Alaska? Yeah, sorry.
And I don't even live in Fairbanks, but I haven't had any snow here. I mean, I got snow out here, but I mean, it's not been snowing for like over a month.
Yeah, but Fairbanks, they get a lot of snow up there.
Yeah, they also really got a lot of cold things up there, like negative 50 degrees, which I don't have.
Listen, Nate, you might live there, but I watch a lot of shows on National Geographic about what it's like to live in Alaska, so I also know a thing or two.
Oh, yeah, because we all know that those are just perfect shows.
Yeah.
Perloff, by the way, he sounds like he's kidding. He's not.
Yeah. I watch Living Below Zero, Port Protection, Alaska. I know it's all I do is watch survivalists or Alaska shows. Obsessed.
Well, I live up here, so anytime you want to just message me on the Facebook or whatever, I can tell you stuff.
Nate, you are the expert. Don't let Perloff convince you that he knows more about living in Alaska than someone who lives in Alaska.
Anyways, I just wanted to say two things. The fact that Ovi, because I brought this up to you, I think 2 or 3 calls ago, and I said how big it was going to be for him to pass Gretzky because I thought he was going to do it this year, and he was on a tear. And now, how crazy do you think it would be if it's a 4 to 6 week thing that's only, a little over a month, if he comes back and still does it? How big is that going to be?
It would be massive. I mean, Nate, I don't even think it would be one of the biggest stories in sports. And, Nate, it's always great to hear from you. Thank you. He's 26 goals away from behind the record, right? And he already had 15 this season. So he's at 868, 26 behind the record, 894 held by Gretzky.
So now he's got to come back. I don't think he was going to retire anyway, right?
No, he's going to come back. It's
so
just
maybe we have to wait till. I don't think he can do it, Maggie.
Well, here's the thing: when you come back off of this injury, are you automatically pick right up where you left off, or do you need a little time to find your legs?
I would think 26 goals coming off a broken leg, not going to happen. But that's fine.
Feels really hard.
We can wait. I was
39 years old.
I was fully on this bandwagon about this story, and now I'm off. That's
Wait,
simple.
that was 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the guy broke his leg. What do you want me to do? We have to do it next year. Next fall, I'm going to be really into it again.
How about this? And I didn't realize this was the case with Ovechkin. 39 years old. Guess how many games he's missed due to injury or other absences, suspensions, or COVID-19 throughout his career?
I mean, there's been so many. I mean, just 2004, there was the NHL lockout. So, I mean, there's at least 82 right there.
Well, not that one. That's everybody. Just Ovechkin.
I don't have the slightest idea.
He entered the league in 2005-2006 season. He's now 39. He's missed 35 games his whole career. That's like Joel Embiid's October. Amazing. 855-212-4227. All right, little hockey talk for you. A little hockey tack.
That hockey.
Do that hockey. We got a lot more for you. We're going to keep an eye on this Ovechkin story, obviously, like everyone else. But coming up, this is a very important college football weekend, and we've got some college football news for you that you must hear. We're going to do that next.
All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening, because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Now, here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of shields, guards, and Real Fit products. Void in Mississippi. Learn more at depend.com.
You're in a 4.5-minute break. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Mami, prenda la radio, encienda la tele y no me molesten que hoy juega la CL. Coja la curva, coja la L. Si no está alentando.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Got a lot of assignments today, including figuring out the Steelers' future at quarterback. A lot of interesting choices. It's so funny. If they had improved to 9-2, we'd be like, let's ride Russ to the Super Bowl. Now we're like, hey, what do you think of maybe Kirk Cousins in Pittsburgh next year? One loss in the snow has a lot of impact, but it is an important game because they fall from 8-2 to 8-3. Now they just feel like another team in the AFC playoff mess.
But to be fair, Russ played well last night.
He made throws I could not believe. I'm like, why is he good in cold weather? I know he played one season in Wisconsin, but
I mean, considering the weather, how terrible it was, he actually was completing passes in this blinding snowstorm. If the Steelers were able to run the ball at all on a 3rd and 2 or anything, they would have walked away with the win, but they couldn't run the ball last night.
Probably. I mean, it was a close game. It felt like Jameis was waiting until he was down at the very end to really show his best stuff.
Was that after the fumble or after the interception?
When the Steelers went up 19-18, I was like, oh my gosh, Jameis is totally rattled in the snow. There's no way he's going to lead them back down, and let them right back down.
He did. Let's go to Big Friendly. Big Friendly joining us from California. We love him. Big Friendly, you've got a sneaky next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You realize that, right?
Why is that?
Who are you calling to talk about?
Well, I was calling because Wednesday you guys were talking about the gentleman Brock Purdy in Frisco. Mm-hmm. And Wednesday I couldn't get to the phones because I was busy. So I just wanted to tap in real quick before I remind Perloff about the small jersey bet this Sunday, Rams and Eagles. But you guys were talking about whether Brock Purdy deserves to be paid or not.
Right.
I would say this. If we look at Daniel Jones, a.k.a. Danny Loose Change, he got paid. How many playoff games has he won?
One.
Yeah, but nobody thinks that that's like the classic mistake of paying a guy. So that's not a good example.
I know.
But go ahead.
So I was saying, I'm sorry, Daddy Cool. So we can go to Jacksonville. You look at Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. He got paid. He has one playoff win. I would feel more comfortable, and this is a Rams fan saying this, I'd feel more comfortable paying Brock Purdy because at least he's played in the Super Bowl and has made it to NFC championships. He's been to the big games, and it's just unfortunate that, if you ask me, Kyle Shanahan is the problem in Frisco.
Mm. Okay, so yesterday, Shireen Williams, who's been covering the league for 30 years, was asking the question about how safe is Kyle Shanahan. And we all acknowledge that he is a good coach, Big Friendly. I think even you would say that. But is there a possibility that he might be out? And that's what started the ball rolling a little, snowball, if you will, apropos of last night, which is could they also move on from Purdy? Say they keep Shanahan, would they want to look for an Aaron Rodgers type or something else? And how much upheaval is potentially on the doorstep for the 49ers. It kind of feels like all or nothing. Either we get a massive change, Shanahan, Purdy, they move on from one of those guys, or it remains status quo. And I don't know if there's an in-between.
Well, Purdy's under contract,
Maggie.
though. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Big Friendly.
Sorry, I apologize. Before you guys cut me off real quick, I agree with you. I think if you were to ask me, I'd say you get rid of Shanahan because at the end of the day, the man can only go so far. And Maggie, real quick, Daddy Cool, Sunday, Rams, Eagles, small jersey bet. Maggie, Big Dave threw his hat in for the waffle eating contest. Hey, you know what? Big Friendly, Big Dave, and Maggie, I could put my hat in there too. So if you need help. But other than that, I just wanted to get at you, Daddy Cool. Respect. But this Sunday, on Monday, I plan on seeing you wearing a small Rams jersey.
Wait. We made this bet?
Yeah.
Oh, Daddy Cool, you forgot this bet. Let's back this up.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We made a bet. I explained to you. I sent EJ a picture of me in a very small Detroit Lions jersey.
Have not seen
that. I bet my cousin last year. And me and you made the bet with the Eagles and Rams because I had told you that I'm sure there's a lot of jerseys you can wear. There's certain jerseys I can't wear.
Okay. So I have to wear like a small Rams jersey?
Yes. And if the Eagles win, on Monday, I will take a picture in a small Eagles jersey. I will autograph it for you, mail it to you, but I will send EJ the picture of it so you guys can put it wherever you want.
Where do I get the Rams? I don't have a Rams. Big Friendly, I don't have a Rams jersey.
We can find a children's-size Rams jersey.
Yeah, so
it's
wait.
2024.
But if you want it by Monday, I'm not sure I can get it in time.
I don't know if by Monday might be
It doesn't have to be by Monday.
Yeah.
Monday. If the Rams lose Sunday, I will be going to buy my Eagle jersey on Sunday. I'm just saying.
And you have a player?
Cool, you can take your time, but I like to pay off my bets quick if I lose.
Hey, Big Friendly, what jersey you want me to buy? Are we talking like Tutu Atwell? Do I get Stafford? What do you want to see here?
Hey, Daddy Cool, you the man, so your pick is your pick. I just want to see you in a Ram jersey that should be fitting your 5-year-old daughter, if you had a 5-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Close enough.
And you guys have a great day. And Maggie, keep me in mind for that waffle eating contest.
Yeah.
You guys have a great day, and I'm out of here.
Friendly always puts us in such a good mood. I love that this has become a group activity for the Waffle House, especially because, as EJ, we were going back and forth on Twitter yesterday, there's not a Waffle House in New Jersey. So I already have to travel to pay off this bet. So somewhere between Kentucky and California is where I can find a Waffle House.
Can I give you the script here? It's kind of like in Rudy when they cut Rudy and everyone shows up at the coach and puts their jersey down. Maggie's dying. She's like, I can't eat another waffle. Then out of nowhere, the loyal listeners show up and eat the waffles for her. It is going to be, and the music swells up. It is going to be a feel-good holiday movie to get through Waffle House. This is going to be dramatic and amazing.
Maggie.
Eat that last one.
Maggie.
And then Maggie throws up on everyone's shoes.
Just like how Rudy ended. It's so funny. It's exactly the same ending.
I lost that. I actually won that bet, so I didn't have to go there. You know what my thing would have been? I would be like, I would order like a side of oatmeal and bacon and sausage. Because if you're a Waffle House, I mean, you're going to have some bacon. You can't not have bacon with your pancakes.
I love that I'm just shoving the waffles down my throat as quickly as possible, and Perloff sitting there with a cup of tea. Watching me, reading the Wall Street Journal, taking his time like we're at brunch.
If I'm sitting at Waffle House, I'll probably out-eat you on this day. I go to town at Waffle House.
Then maybe you can do the bet for me.
I would love to do it. It's just too many carbs. I'd like to mix in some protein.
Talking about carbs or paying off a bet. This is why I need Big Friendly and I need Big Dave. It's like solidarity. This is.
I'll eat a ton of food at Waffle House, and I'll take down 3 or 4 of your pancakes. That sounds really weird.
Waffles.
Oh wait, okay.
I thought there was one in New Jersey, just not close.
No, it's also not. It's called the Waffle House, but it's not an actual Waffle House. It was a knockoff, and so
McDowell's.
Yeah, the Golden Arcs. So I actually called, and I was talking to our former boss, Spike Eskin, who has done some Waffle House stuff. He told me there is one in Pennsylvania. There's also one in Maryland.
There's also definitely one near the University of Delaware.
Okay, so that's
near
3.
Philly.
Which is not. That's certainly a better drive than Maryland.
Yeah, my neck of the woods too, Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. It's not too far from where you live.
And Spike said he would show up.
He did say that.
Now, he's vegan, so I don't know what the waffles, if he can eat those, but.
I think he's there just to laugh at you. I don't think he's there to actually. He's not Big Friendly or Big Dave. I think he's just.
No,
not Big Spike.
No. I'll take it. I'll take the help.
I always wonder when someone calls in with the name Big, like, are they literally big? Because when I first started working here it was CBS Sports Radio, Mike Samter was the producer.
Mm-hmm.
And his Twitter handle was Big Mike at CBS. Everyone's like, oh, Big Mike. And then I got in and he was not big.
Yeah.
So are these ironic bigs or are these real bigs?
I prefer the ironic big.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah.
your nickname is Fats, you need to be 5'6", 110 pounds.
Yeah. And tiny's got to be 6'7",
Huge.
350.
Yes. So if you're tiny, you got to be Nate Newton size. There's no doubt about it. Right. But yeah, remember when I asked you, your face, I said, Mike Samter, he must be huge, right? You're like, not so much.
Well, also,
He's huge for a baby.
Oh.
he puts Big Mike on everything. He even somehow, when you share contact information with him, his comes up in all caps. I'm like, dude, the jig is up.
As Big Mike?
No, it's just Mike Samter in all capital letters.
When you get a call in and it's all caps, I was like, oh, I don't trust this caller at all. Right?
It's like someone shouting. No, we once put Mike Samter in a box and pushed it over.
Shoebox.
Don't get any ideas from me, guys.
There was a dummy around here for a while. Do you guys remember that? The
Yeah.
Craig Carton dummy. It looked exactly like Craig Carton. And the box it came in was kind of like 4 feet tall. And one day we put Samter in it and then we pushed it over. That was probably an HR violation.
Definitely.
Samter, Bogish, back to you with headlines. Hello.
Wow. Headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks and use code whatever. Get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5.
I offended you. I didn't mean it.
Called me Samter.
I made a mix-up.
Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
And P.
Whatever. The Steelers on a 7-quarter streak without a touchdown. They were stuck on 6 points last night in Cleveland into the fourth quarter, and then scoring got easy.
Wilson gets the snap. Browns bringing 5 men. Throws over the middle of the field. Calvin Austin. Touchdown, Pittsburgh Steelers. Calvin Austin, you're a giant, man. What a giant. I mean, to come through in a post pattern right there, and Russ led him perfectly, dropped it right in.
That's Steelers radio. Second touchdown in less than 2 minutes with a Jameis Winston fumble in between. Jameis then picked off on the Browns following possession, but the Steelers could not add on to their 1-point lead. A bad Pittsburgh punt helped set up Nick Chubb's go-ahead 2-yard TD run with 57 seconds left. 27 combined points in the snow in the fourth quarter last night. It ended with the Browns winning 24-19, ending the Steelers' 5-game win streak. Mike Tomlin saying Mike Tomlin things post-game.
It's painful, but it's life in this business. We'll take a look at the tape and learn from it. Man, we're in the midst of some thick AFC North action, and so no rest for the weary, man. We got a big one coming up.
That would be in Cincinnati 2 Sundays from now.
He didn't urinate down his leg, man. That's a great place to begin.
That's the perfect analogy. It's thick. I get that. Feels like the schedule's getting heavy.
But it's also not nom. So there's like
taking heavy fire.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't fear sudden death.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame's contributor committee has reportedly passed over Robert Kraft once again. Their nominee is expected to be Ralph Hay, who co-founded the NFL and owned the Canton Bulldogs. He'll be under consideration for induction alongside a coach candidate, 3 old-time players, and that main group of 15.
You know what I know about Ralph Hay, by the way?
Feels kind of like a troll of Belichick.
Yeah, one thing Ralph Hay never did was tape his opponent's signals on the sidelines. So that's why Ralph Hay's in and Robert Kraft's out.
You can say that with confidence because there were not cameras in 1919 when you owned the Canton Bulldogs. Okay.
The moving image was still in its infancy. Sorry, I meant this is a troll to Robert Kraft. This is a message being sent by the committee, right?
Well, he's been lobbying as long as I can remember. At least 15 years he's been lobbying to get in this Hall of Fame.
Also, has there ever been like a news break to be like, news break, guys, Robert Kraft, age 90, whatever, not going to the Hall of Fame? Like, I was very scared when I first saw that Schefter tweet. I was like, oh, no. And he's like, Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots, led the dynasty. has been passed. I was like, oh my God, it is like over for the Hall of Fame. I'm like, why did you tweet it like that?
You're right. It is news, but normally the people who don't make it in, like I bet he didn't tweet that the other 15 years when he didn't get in.
Definitely not.
No, this Kraft Hall of Fame thing has been a big deal because he, like every big NFL writer says, I get calls from the Patriots every other week saying it's time for Robert Kraft to get in. He's been doing a massive campaign to do this.
And I think he
desperately wants
overdid
it.
To be honest, I think the Dynasty series on Apple TV rubbed some people the wrong way because maybe it backfired a little because it felt like he was trying to, not that he shouldn't take credit for the Dynasty. He obviously funded the whole thing, traded for Belichick, the whole deal. But it feels a little like overkill.
Well, I mean, he has 6 Super Bowl rings and Jerry Jones has 3, and they both are at the top of the major committees, and Jerry's in and he's not. Is there any other explanation other than I think it's more the cheating? You're right about the documentary. That probably did rub people the wrong way. But still, there's no reason that Jerry should be in and he shouldn't be in.
Yeah, but it's not like Robert Kraft set up the cameras and started taping.
Right, but, you'd have one major cheating scandal followed up by another major cheating scandal.
You think he knew anything about the PSI of the footballs?
I think ultimately, yeah, it goes, no, of course not. But if that atmosphere of playing fast and loose with the rules goes up the chain.
Do you think that Belichick will have a similar weight because of that?
No.
Okay, so it's a Kraft specific backlash because Brady's getting it at first chance too.
Belichick should definitely get it held against him, right? At least 1 year. For Spygate, because they continued to do this. I know they got in trouble for it. They continued to do it.
There's got to be another reason why they're not letting them in. This doesn't make sense to me.
Apparently, there's a backlog. We're only getting the co-founder of the NFL in the Hall of Fame in 2024.
That's true.
Fair.
I've never heard of Ralph Hay in my entire life.
Me neither.
That's why it feels like a troll, doesn't it? It feels like they're sending a message with this.
Like, who presented Ralph Hay? Everybody gets a presenter. Nobody was alive for Ralph Hay.
And if we're being honest, Ralph can wait posthumously, right, to go in another year.
Definitely.
Like we could get Kraft in now while he's still
also
with us.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
The Hall of Fame is also kind of a TV product. Like, wouldn't you want Robert Kraft giving a speech? Then, like, no disrespect to Mr. Hayes' family, but like, okay, like maybe a descendant of Mr. Hay talking about
a great grandkid.
I mean,
or a great
Robert Kraft is Robert Kraft.
I mean, there are other things too. Do you consider Aaron Hernandez? Like, they knew Aaron Hernandez was trouble.
I don't think so.
I mean, they drafted low character people again and again and again and again, and it's one of the reasons they won 6 Super Bowls.
I'm with Pearl. I think there's something else besides this Spygate thing because I don't think Belichick's going to get bit for this. I don't think Brady's going to get bit for this. Why is Kraft being held? I don't know why this is being held against him. I don't get it.
I think that there was a long time when people thought that they were getting favorable treatment, the Patriots.
Like what?
Well, like with Spygate destroying the tapes, not, and handling all that stuff behind the scenes. I think people believe that they still continue to cheat after that, and the league used really soft touch with them. Now, the Brady suspension seemed almost a pendulum swing in the other direction, right? Like that was a little too harsh.
I mean,
4-game suspension.
Spygate was, I think at the time, like the biggest penalty that had ever been laid down. It was huge. And also, too, it was just for a video taping procedural error, according to the Patriots. I honestly thought Spygate and Deflategate seems silly in retrospect to me. Like, of all the scandals, like, if you explain to a kid what they are, they're like, that was a big deal?
Well,
especially
Spygate.
Spygate's a little like Connor Stallions at least put on a fake mustache. Spygate, the dude just pointed his camera like 40 degrees different than unless there's more cheating scandals behind the scenes that we don't know. I feel like these are not like keep you out of the Hall of Fame kind of things.
It also feels hypocritical that like we've accepted Belichick and Brady. I know this isn't a media thing per se, but we've accepted them into the post-football world. Like they're on TV all the time. They're doing everything. Like you think these guys are cheaters? Why are you embracing them?
But Robert Kraft is embraced. I see him dancing with Cardi B. I mean, he's like
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
that's a particular embrace.
And he's also Jerry Jones, they say, built the league. Kraft had a huge part of all these TV deals. Like he's a massively important owner.
Maybe it was the massage parlor thing. I don't think it's that.
I forgot about that one.
Jerry Jones has got his own unsavory personal life stuff. I mean, Eddie DeBartolo had major off the field scandals.
That was like kind of financial crimes.
It was financial crimes, yeah. But I'm saying
in that world, that's business as usual.
All right. Anyway.
But I totally forgot about the massage parlor. Maybe.
I mean, I was gonna say something there. got away with that, or he wasn't punished.
He wasn't punished, but it's also it was a different thing than unwanted advances towards women too. Like there was at least a thing.
I'd be careful of that because some people think that there's trafficking involved in what was going on.
Okay, fine. But
Actually, that's what the arrest was for.
Yeah.
Right. But I still feels like a thing that's not. It's in the same neighborhood, but not an apples to apples comparison. It'd be and I get my point is it'd be an odd thing to hold against him, but then not hold Jerry's things against Jerry to get him. Like that's a weird line to draw. If that's what
going into people's personal lives,
right? If that's what's going on,
but it's not. It became public though. I mean,
yeah, but we also have seen some pretty gross Jerry Jones.
I mean, the thing with his daughter, but I don't know.
You remember those pictures where the woman was holding his crotch in the bathroom of a?
Yeah, she wasn't holding his crotch, was she? I remember that picture. Yeah,
I'm out.
Was it for Maggie? All the innuendos happening on the show. Someone holding Jerry's crotch was too much.
It was in a bathroom, right?
Yeah, it was a bathroom picture.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had a line, but apparently I do. And that
deeper.
It appeared to have crossed it. Cannot talk about that. We got to go to break anyway. Thank God. 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. We'll get to that in just a moment. Again, big college football news we're going to get to as well. Hang tight.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Major college football games this weekend. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Top of the list, Pearl, you'd probably have to put Indiana going to Ohio State in the horseshoe. This is just huge for Indiana. I think obviously Ohio State's going to be fine either way, even if, you've been playing a lot of top teams. They played Penn State, close loss to Oregon in Oregon. Ohio State's the second team in the country. They're actually the odds-on favorite. Are they second in
I thought Oregon might
championship odds?
They keep flip-flopping with Oregon.
I know. We got to check
Georgia's
up to
third,
the minute.
Right? Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is there's Ohio State, if they win this game, could play Oregon 3 times.
That doesn't
which is
feel
it doesn't
fair
feel
for
right.
either side.
And it also makes it very hard to predict how that will come out. It's really hard to beat teams twice. Do you have a lean in this way? Because I honestly, I'm rooting for Indiana. I'm going to be honest with that. But you're right. Ohio State, I like Ohio State too, but they'll still be there. I think it's going to be really hard. I think Ohio State talent level is just, and they're going to be up for this game. You don't come out flat because there's a lot of hype here.
Okay, now this is going to feel like a little in the weeds, but stay with me. I think the news that we got earlier this week with Ohio State is actually big news. And the news was their center tore his Achilles tendon in practice. I mean, just your worst nightmare of that to happen anytime, let alone in practice. So this is an offensive line that's already had to shuffle the deck multiple times because of injury. Now you've got a major game coming in, undefeated Indiana, so much at stake, and you have to shuffle the offensive line yet again. Now, I realize you're at home, so with the cadences and stuff like that, the crowd noise may not be a factor as much as if you were, say, in the big house or something this weekend. But still, I think that's a really big deal. Remember last year with the college football playoff? What was one of the big issues for Alabama? Center snapping the ball over Jalen Milroe's head. I mean, we take these things for granted that these quarterback-center exchanges and all calling out all the protections and all of the things that a center could be asked to do. You now have someone new coming in and doing that 3 days before the game.
So you lean in Indiana?
I am actually, I'll give you a spoiler because we're going to make picks. I am staying as far away from this game as possible in terms of the spread. As far as the over-under is concerned, I may have a lean that way. I think I'd be leaning under in this game. But again, I really think this, it's weird to say offensive line, we take it for granted. I think this injury is going to have an effect on the game.
Yeah, but the thing with Indiana is, like, what have you seen that makes you think that they can compete with this level of team? We just haven't seen enough.
Well, because they've been blowing out the teams that they are expected to blow out. Now, they did face a much better Michigan defense, and you saw what happened. That was a one-score game.
That looked bad. So we'll see. That should be fun. It would be great if Indiana won this game. Oh, my God. then I'd be wearing full Hoosiers gear on Monday.
Of course you would.
I was really into Indiana when Penix was there. That was my team. And then when he got hurt, I was just like, I'm never going to watch Indiana football again. But now I'm back in, baby.
Look at Kurt Cignetti and Curtis Rourke and all these guys who came from James Madison, and look at what they have done now with Indiana. They're now a football school. How about that?
I have a counter for the center take. How about you just run Jeremiah Smith 40 yards down the field and throw it up and watch him catch it and go to the playoff?
You could do that, but Indiana has good corners, and they've got a good defensive line, and Ohio State's rushing attack has not been what we thought it was going to be, and now this is even going to be more difficult with the center out of the game, the starting center. Okay, lots more to do, including Micah Parsons saying crazy things. No, he once put Mike Samter in a box and pushed it over.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Thrash in the game to the right. Now Ford motions to the left. Winston to throw. 4th down. Winston under pressure. Scrambling. Pump fake. He's going to run. He jumps. Touchdown. Jameis Winston on 4th down.
Thank you to Browns radio in the snow. Jameis Winston just looked like he didn't have anywhere to go. He's like, all right, I guess I'll rush it in.
Oh my God. And they had just dropped a touchdown, either the play before or the play for David Njoku had a wide open. So it looked like the Browns were browning it up and we're going to lose that game. What a play by Jameis.
And what a game.
And by the way, I actually was watching that game and I said, you talked about they pulled Russell Wilson for Justin Fields on a few plays. I thought, get Jameis out of there. Jameis is killing them. Put in DTR, let him run on every play because he didn't look like he could throw in that snow.
They literally put DTR in for one play.
Yep.
And then they took him out. That was it.
I think it was a handoff, too. They didn't even do anything.
And then they took him out. It didn't make a lot of sense, but a lot of things in this game last night didn't make a lot of sense. And first and foremost, not so much that the Browns end up winning the game by a final score of 24-19, just the idea that the Steelers really couldn't take advantage. I know the conditions were terrible, but they couldn't take advantage of multiple opportunities where the Browns seemed to be serving this win on a silver platter. They entered the fourth quarter down 12 points. They scored 2 touchdowns in about 2 minutes, the Steelers. And it was a fumble. It was a bad interception from Jameis Winston, which he's good for a couple of those. And then the Steelers just are so anemic on offense. They just cannot make it work.
Well, it was snowing, though. I'm not sure you can judge the normal anemic offense stuff. It was really hard to throw the ball.
No, I get it. And throwing the ball actually was working to a degree for Russell Wilson. But I thought they had the right idea. They just couldn't execute when they brought Justin Fields in to use him on short yardage in the bad weather. The dude played at Ohio State. He can play in this stuff. He can play in bad weather. And it just didn't work out the way I thought it was. But I love the concept, if that makes sense. I want them to keep going to Fields in some of these situations.
But yeah, you keep saying that, but is that going to be enough to make how could that be a difference maker? It feels like kind of like Taysom Hill with the Saints. It's a nice weapon.
But look what the Saints did to the Browns last week.
Is it right? Well, that's a good point. But is it a game changer for the Steelers? Again, it feels like more just like Mike Tomlin. Their offense is never, even with this deep ball from Russell Wilson to George Pickens, they're just not explosive.
Well, they don't have enough weapons, but they should have pulled the trigger on another wide receiver. They were in the mix for all of these wide receivers, and obviously none of them came to fruition.
But look at your coaching staff. You have Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith. I mean, you could have the greatest show on turf Rams. I just don't think that they're ever going to want to be a wide open offense. He wants to win close, ugly games.
Yeah, and you know what? The Chiefs are also winning close, ugly games at times, but obviously they've got a way bigger advantage at quarterback. But winning close, ugly games in the AFC North is not a bad strategy, by the way.
Well, it's gotten Mike Tomlin to 9-8 in 7 straight years. Is it a great strategy? Well, I don't know that you have proof of concept there. They won Super Bowls with a kind of a different formula. Well, they were defense first, but they had Big Ben. I just don't know if that is a good strategy. Yeah, you're going to beat the Ravens 19-13 twice during the regular season, but I just don't feel like we're seeing a playoff-ready Steelers team.
Listen, that's just life to me in the AFC North, because look at the Ravens offense. The Ravens offense is gangbusters, right? And they are awesome. And then what happens when they play the Steelers?
Every time.
It's an 18-16 game. That's just what it's going to be. You got to be able to win both, I guess.
It actually doesn't even matter. The Ravens just lose those 2 Steelers games, win all their other games, and play the Chiefs in the playoffs. That's what's going to happen. It feels like rinse, wash, repeat. We're seeing the same exact season as last season. It's going to be an AFC title game. I feel like it's going to be Kansas City, Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore again. Sorry, Meg.
That's okay, but let's like pause on the Steelers for a second, because I'm saying that I think there could still be a Super Bowl contender and maybe there's a path here. Now, is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. Nothing the Steelers do is easy. And they are getting into the tough part of their schedule right now where they're going to play your Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to play the Chiefs, the Ravens again, the Browns again, the Bengals. They've got it all sitting here in front of them. I just think that there has to be, in my opinion, an upgrade in their red zone offense. And with the type of skill position players you have, I think that's attainable. That's what I'm holding on to. That's what I'm holding my hat on. With Russell Wilson or Fields, with Pickens, Freiermuth, your running game, there has to be a way to get in the end zone, and they have just not been able to do it.
I don't understand. They have the 20th ranked yardage offense, so it's not like their offense, they're not going up and down the field in any way.
I know, but it does seem like they can move the ball.
They can. They're 20th.
No, but I know, but you see with Russ, I think a lot of that skewed. Why they're 20th is because Justin Fields played the first 6 games of the year, 8 games, 6 games.
Also, yeah, that's a good point.
They were not good. With Russ, it's a different dynamic.
But you're like, look at their weapons. Then you name Pat Freiermuth in the running game. I'm sorry, it's like that running game is secretly super anemic at times. There are games where that just does not get off the ground. And
last night was one of them.
They're saying moo, not boo. But come on, Pat Freiermuth's your big red zone weapon?
Listen, he was at times was effective. I can't tell you that they have this Hall of Fame level skill position. I get that.
They have one play in their playbook. Russ drops back and throws a 40-yard lollipop to George Pickens, and he catches it. That has been their secret weapon. And in the playoffs, you're going to triple team George Pickens, and then that's all you got.
We'll see if they can get the run game going, and we'll see if they can figure out a better way to use Fields in a more effective way. And to be honest, last night was just, quite frankly, a lot of fun. For those of us who did not have a rooting interest in the game, this was great to watch. The snow was amazing. These are the kind of fun football games that we love to see. Just, guys slip sliding, crowd, everyone just like there's snow accumulating on everyone's head. I mean, it was really, really fun. Al Michaels can't tell whether field goals are going through the uprights or not because the snow and the wind is so crazy.
What is that?
Dude, Al Michaels was merciless, by the way, on the one Browns punt that went 12 yards. He's like,
one that almost got blocked.
He was so disgusted by that punt. This is what it sounded like.
Corey Bajorquez to send it down toward Calvin Austin. What is that? A flag is down. Whatever that was. Did the wind move it as he dropped it?
I mean,
what is that?
It's snowing sideways.
That also, too, the offensive line completely disappeared. The guy had to hurry his kick because there were like 6 Browns on top of him. I thought that was going to be a block. I thought that was going to be the Browns' touchdown. But that did set them up well. I can't believe it. I'm still actually in shock the Browns won that game. When Jameis had that fumble, that I was like, oh, God, Browns, you're doing this again? But they toughed it out. All these Florida guys on Cleveland showing up.
And how about 2 touchdowns for Nick Chubb? I think it was the first rushing touchdown for Jameis Winston, they said, in like 3 years. And obviously he's been a backup. So it was just fun all the way. You can go and vote on our poll at Maggie and Pearl. How would you describe the Steelers? Sneaky contenders or get them out of here? Get them out of here, taking a little bit of a bigger lead now, 57% to 43%. So there you go. We got a lot more cool NFL games coming up this weekend that we'll get to. But first, Mike is in Pearl River, New York, just north of New York City, wants to talk about the big Notre Dame Army game that's happening inside Yankee Stadium tomorrow. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going? Yes, it's at Yankee Stadium, and we do still play college football games. And I know one thing. At one time, Notre Dame and Army or Army-Navy at Yankee Stadium was the biggest thing on the planet. I'll be there tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium rooting for Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, my team. I want to see them get in the playoff. I know because it's my team, and just the way they've been playing. Notre Dame has got that reputation throughout football, and I think it's gonna uphold this year. I like the quarterback. I like the young quarterback, Riley Leonard, And I think things are going to work out for us in Notre Dame. Go Buchanan, go Buchanan, go Buchanan, go Buchanan, go Buchanan, go Buchanan, go Pack, go. Go Pack, go. Go Pack, go. Go Pack, go. Go Pack, go.
Mike, leave for the game right now. Just start the tailgate. I love it.
Right?
Appreciate you, pal. The one thing is about I've been to a football game in Yankee Stadium. I don't love it. It feels very crammed in.
Yeah. I mean, this does have the Notre Dame Army matchup kind of feels like it might make it cooler despite, I don't know, this, I assume Army's in New York State. Notre Dame's a kind of a New York-y team. I kind of feel like this works in a way.
Why would they put it at MetLife Stadium where the Giants and Jets play? Because that's where they put Notre Dame and Navy.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it does sound like something kind of cool and vintage about this.
Yeah, I've been to a Notre Dame game at Yankee Stadium, and it just wasn't. I don't love it as a viewer experience, but I'm sure on TV it will probably look fine.
It's kind of disappointing about this game. It's like Army's ranked. This is finally. It doesn't feel like Vegas has given Army a lot of chance here.
The spread on this game is 14.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of my picks. It was going to be one of mine.
Oh, great.
We're going to do it a little later in the show.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about Army can trick people, but Notre Dame plays them all the time, so they know this. I think Marcus Freeman knows this offense. Yeah, this should be tough sliding. Again, Notre Dame's going to get to the playoff, and we're going to have no idea because they're untested. We just will not
if
know
Army
how
does
good
win this game, do they become a conversation?
Oh, yeah. Dude, we're looking
about
at
what? About winning it all?
No, about like a spot in the college football playoff.
No, we're going to get Army and Boise. We're going to have two group of five, and maybe there's a third one. Who's the third one? Tulane. We get all three. Let's do it. It'd be amazing. Sorry to your Miami Hurricanes if they get lost, if they get pushed out by Army. That would be wild, dude.
That would be very apropos of Miami football for the last 20 years if we get pushed out by Army.
It's funny, too. Notre Dame has that season-ending game. USC's got a good quarterback now.
Something tells me this is not going to go the way Notre Dame thinks it's going to go.
Wait, you're talking about this game or just the rest of the season?
Rest of the season.
Yeah, it does feel like they have a big edge against Army, but that USC game is just sitting there.
Okay, what's more likely to happen? Something weird happens to Notre Dame or something weird happens to Miami?
Well, Miami doesn't really have any games left.
That's a push right there.
Well, Miami has to win the ACC championship game. Do we think 2 ACC teams are getting in?
I think it depends on. I think Miami, if they play a very competitive game with SMU, I think there will be a conversation because they are the number one offense in college football. And I think there will be some people in the committee that say Cam Ward's one of the best players. They have a number one offense. Like, we should give them a shot.
The committee's not going to judge.
Clemson's still alive in this thing, too.
Well, that's if Miami and SMU don't win out. It's going to take some work for Clemson to get there, but they're not out of it. You're right.
Well, Miami's definitely winning out. There's no way they're going to lose.
Something about that Syracuse game is bothering me.
But the thing is, I think the committee's going to look at conference title game losses and say, we're not going to hold that against you. Because
they say that.
Well, I mean, Miami's on the brink.
I don't know if I believe them yet.
Miami's on the brink. We'll see. I think Miami's a big brand, too. They will screw SMU in a second. They don't care about SMU. But I think Miami would have a great chance.
I just wonder with these conference championship games, I know what they've said. They're not going to hold it against anyone. But when push comes to shove and a team has a 3 next to their name in terms of losses, are they going to just say, well, 3 losses, can't have somebody in the championship, in the bracket with 3 losses?
Well, the SEC team will definitely be it.
I think so, too. But
if you get to the SEC title game, then you're definitely in the 12. Is there any doubt about that?
I would think so, but I think this committee is weird.
I don't think in that particular instance, like you're not going to have, if say Tennessee gets to the SEC title game, they're not going to put Ole Miss in because Tennessee lost.
There's also an important fact with this too, where we've seen this with the 14 playoff, that they will do one trend for the entire ranking reveal, and then by the time they get to the last one, they just make up their own rules.
They put in whatever they think the biggest TV rating will be.
Exactly. They should just have instead of the athletic director from Michigan to come out and answer the questions, just get the president of ESPN to come out there and say, this is how we ranked them. This is how we think about it. Larry's in New York, big Steeler fan. Good morning, Larry.
Oh, great show, Maggie. Addicted to the show, man. Great, tremendous. I just, I love seeing that snow on the screen last night, man. After all this drought we had up here in the Northeast, but the other call just brought up the Army. Well, the Army, they recruit Army guys. They're not as big as football players. They're Army guys. You don't want guys too big in the Army, but they were tremendous, and it's a great tradition up there. Those guys are in tremendous shape, and that's a royal battle crowd. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Trumpster there. And then Dana White and the whole crowd, boy, they help this, help that, and they're eating McDonald's and everything. I love it. But the thing with the Steelers and the steel curtain and in Cleveland, I don't know what the problem is with Cleveland. I mean, come on, this is their second franchise. How can you have two franchises? Go Buchanan, go. Go Buchanan, go. Go Pack, go. Go Pack, go. Go.
All right, Larry, I got to put you on hold there. There's a lot going on in that call. Thank you to Larry for being obsessed with the show. We're also obsessed with the show.
Wait, that was the same guy as last time, right?
That was a new guy.
That was a new guy.
You think he called back a second time? They can tell in the call screener. You can't pull that kind of shenanigans. We're radio, but we're more advanced than that. Appreciate you, Manny.
Something's going on, obviously.
Yeah, that's why I had to duck out of that one.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick Kostos is going to join us next. Let's make some money, everybody. Nick Kostos, the host of You Better You Bet. He's got all the answers in just moments.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. I'm extra excited for our next guest, Maggie.
Always excited.
No, more excited now because I am a lifelong Philadelphia Eagles fan. He is a lifelong New York Giants fan. Of course, we're talking about Nick Kostos, will be coming up in a moment. And the headline that Daniel Jones, Giants quarterback, is playing practice squad safety is the funniest headline I've ever seen.
I did see that.
In the 100 years of New York Giants football. We know it's 100 years because this is a low. And by the way, I thought they didn't want the dude to get hurt, and now he's playing practice squad safety. It's such a bizarre story.
You know, that's funny because, the reason why Daniel Jones has gone from starter to basically fourth string quarterback, like he's not going to see the field, is because he's got this injury guarantee with money. So they don't want him to get hurt or else they're going to owe him, millions and millions of dollars as opposed to just getting away from him scot-free after this season. Does that same thing apply if he gets hurt in practice or is it only a game?
I would think it's in practice, too. I don't understand it at all. And also, too, like, you really need him to play safety. Forget all the injury stuff. Isn't that a little embarrassing for your former starting quarterback?
Well, Nick Kostos is with us. He, of course, is the host of You Better You Bet. Nick, this is a question directed at you. Perloff is trolling you on this fine Friday morning.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I would expect nothing less.
Just the headline that Daniel Jones is practice squad safety in 100 years of Giants football history. Like, this is one of the lows. This is hysterical. What's going on here?
I'm being serious. Like, why do you think that?
Dude, your starting quarterback is playing safety in practice.
He's not the starting quarterback. He's the fourth string quarterback.
You have a 2-year, $80 million deal. What's the starting quarterback?
It's a terrible contract. But this is what third and fourth string quarterbacks do. They play on the scout team. I don't get the people that are up in arms over this. People were saying yesterday there are actual legitimate media outlets and smart people writing headlines and saying things like disrespect to Daniel Jones. Like, is this, correct me if I'm wrong, is this like when Ben McAdoo benched Eli Manning? Did I miss Daniel Jones winning a Super Bowl?
Well, did Eli Manning have to play like Will linebacker the next day in practice?
But they're trying to win games.
Yes.
This is what the third or fourth string quarterback does. He plays scout team. And by the way, he's getting paid $35.5 million. Yeah. I'll quit this job right now and go play scout team safety for the Giants for $35 million. He should shut his mouth and do his job, and everyone should quit the bitching and moaning about this. It's ridiculous.
Nick, real question. What about Maggie and I were just talking about, what about the injury? Isn't the reason that he's benched because they don't want him to get hurt and then have to pay him? Isn't this a risk?
I've been saying this for 2 months that he shouldn't have been playing.
Right, but why is he playing in practice? Like, they should put him in bubble wrap 24 hours a day.
He's not really playing in practice. Like, he's standing out there in center fields. Like, he's not going to get hurt.
I don't even do that. I would have him. I'd have him in an office somewhere because if you get stuck with Daniel Jones, that's the worst case scenario.
Well, to be honest, I mean, the fact that he is a Duke grad means he probably will be in an office somewhere for the rest of his life. The football part of his career may be over.
Oh, no way! No, he'll go to the Eagles and be Hurts' backup and come in and be awesome when he plays.
Definitely,
that is a guarantee.
That is true. I forgot how painful this has to be for all you Giants fans before it ends.
He's not that bad. He's just not a starter. He's a really good backup, I think.
He'd be 11-6 with the Vikings, no doubt.
All right, enough Daniel Jones talk for now and for the season. Okay, Nick, let's try to win some money here. College slate, big games on the docket. Ohio State, Indiana leading the way. You also have a really fun one with LSU and Ole Miss. We got some Colorado on the board as well. Let's start with the Indiana game, though. How are you betting this game?
Yeah, so this is I'm looking at the board right now for the first time this morning. We have some significant line movement this morning on this game where Ohio State is now only a 10-point home favorite against Indiana. For context, 24 hours ago, this was Ohio State minus 13.5. So this is a significant move on Indiana now. Part of this may be organic interest in the Hoosiers. Also, we saw Ohio State's All-America center tear his Achilles, non-contact injury in practice a couple days ago, and that's going to disrupt this Ohio State offensive line. Look, they have future NFL players all along the offensive line, but you never want to lose a player like that. So I think that's really interesting that Indiana's drawn so much interest. At this number, at 10, I'm going to like Ohio State in the game. But I have to say it does give me a little bit of pause because this is like serious money on Indiana here. So just like caution to everyone that wants to like lay Ohio State like I do. Like we can still do it. We can still be right. I like the on-field handicap for Ohio State, but tons of money coming in on the Indiana Hoosiers, Maggie, in the last 24 hours. I don't have a huge opinion on the LSU Ole Miss game. That's currently is that the game LSU Ole Miss?
No, Ole Miss Florida.
Ole Miss, Florida, yeah. We do Colorado, Kansas first. So it looks like Colorado's going to come off 3. Colorado's going to be a 2.5-point favorite tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern game. I love Colorado. I had Kansas last week. Kansas beat BYU, which was a great result for the Jayhawks and a great result for Colorado. Feels like that was maybe Kansas's Super Bowl. I look at this as being a letdown opportunity here, a letdown spot for Kansas. So I do like Colorado quite a bit against Kansas tomorrow. I will lay Colorado. I think Colorado will win the Big 12. And I know a lot of people don't trust Lane Kiffin in spots like this, laying a ton of points in a big game as Ole Miss tries to get into the college football playoff. Point spread is currently 10.5. Florida coming off the win against LSU. For me, this is an Ole Miss or nothing spot. But of the 3, this is the one that I like the least. Colorado is the one I like the most. And just a college football playoff take based on the games coming up tomorrow. This is going to sound like I'm saying this for shtick. It's not. I think it's the truth. I think Indiana, to make the playoff, I think Indiana needs to cover the spread tomorrow against Ohio State. And what I mean by that is, I think if Indiana gets blown out, even let's say it's 17, 27-10, I'm just making up a score. I think the committee, when it comes time to pick the 12 teams, I think the committee will say, well, couldn't a 3-loss SEC team have gone 11-1 with the schedule? And I think Indiana opens itself up to potentially being left out. If Indiana gets blown out at the Horseshoe now, they lose a close game, I think they are way in at 11-1 in the playoff. But I do think they need to keep the game close to make sure that the Hoosiers get in.
Hey, Nick, what do you think of Texas A&M is at Auburn, 7:30 on Saturday night? I feel like all bets are off when it's an SEC game at night, and that spread is only 2.5. Texas A&M is only favored by 2.5. Do you think it's I feel like Texas A&M is going to lose this game and then go turn around and beat Texas, and the last 2 weeks of the SEC, it's going to be all kinds of action like that. Do you look at night games in conference differently?
Well, I would say this, we sometimes in betting space look for like look ahead spots in college. It doesn't really work in the NFL with professionals, but with kids, it can work. So A&M hasn't played Texas in a long time, and that rivalry renews next Saturday. I don't know if you guys caught this, but a couple days ago, this kind of went pretty under the radar. Texas A&M coach Mike Elko giving a press conference and literally says, our sole focus is on Texas. I mean Auburn.
Freudian,
yes.
Freudian slip.
I think we're way past Freud on this one. Way past Freud. I would only bet Auburn in the game also. It is worth noting, because if I'm going to say that, then I should say this. Iron Bowl next week also for Auburn, but obviously the stakes are a lot higher for A&M given Auburn not having like a typical Auburn season. So, if I had to bet the game, I would only bet Auburn.
All right, Nick Kostos, he joins us now. You better, you bet. Okay, we do this every Friday. If we're done with college, should we move on to some NFL? Because this is also, I was telling to Perloff, there are no point spreads here that I like this week. Everything feels like it's going to be painful to watch. And there are some bigger ones, Nick. So I'm curious what you think about some of the bigger point spreads. So that'd be Detroit laying 7 again on the road against the Colts. You got Miami at home, favored by 7.5 against the Patriots. You've got the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. It looks like it's between 10.5 and 11 against the Carolina Panthers. The Texans, it's going between 7.5 and 8. They're hosting the Titans. What do you think of some of these bigger spreads? Do you see value there?
So I'll start with the last two. Kansas City, Carolina, to me, it's all just correct. Kansas City, I think, should be favored by more than 10 and less than 13. That's what it is. If I had to bet the game, I would bet the Chiefs. But it is worth noting, Bryce Young in the couple games before the bye week, was not terrible. And it's possible in the bye week with Dave Canales. Jonathan Brooks is expected to play, their rookie second-round running back. It's possible Carolina can keep this game close at home. I wouldn't bet the Panthers, but I'm also not betting the Chiefs. I would bet the Chiefs if I had to bet it. Titans-Texans is another game where this all just looks good to me. For the people that say like Vegas knows, no, they don't. This point spread opened Houston -7. That wasn't right. So hopefully people were able to get a piece of that on Sunday night, which Texans minus, which is ridiculous because Houston's almost 8.5 now. Lean for me towards Houston, but I will not be betting that game, the Texans and the Titans. The other two games that you mentioned, Maggie, the first two games, probably my two favorite bets of the week. So I'm happy that you brought it up like that.
Wait, can I make a prediction? I know which way you're going.
Okay.
You're picking the Colts.
Yeah, I'm going to pick them to win.
I knew it. I'm starting to think like you, Nick. I'm starting to, yeah. And
what do you think my Patriots-Dolphins thought is?
Dolphins.
Love the Patriots.
Okay. Flip a coin.
One
50,
for two.
50.
Colts was a good one. So let's start with Patriots-Dolphins. The point spread 7.5. Like, no way. Like, Miami should be favored. Miami's better than the Patriots. The box score and the final score in the Dolphins-Raiders game last week are extremely deceiving. So Miami beat the Raiders by 15, 34-19 last week. I bet the Dolphins. I was very happy for the result. Actually looking, though, at how this game played out, this game was way closer to 50-50 than the final score indicates. And again, I won money on the game. I'm happy it turned out like that, but I have to call it like it is. I probably got lucky to win that bet last week on the Miami Dolphins. And Drake May, I think, is just starting to scratch the surface of his upside here. Now, you told me the point spread was like 5. Maybe I'm not interested here. I really like the Patriots. Like, the Raiders moved the ball up and down the field on this Dolphins defense last week. Several drives of like 10 or more plays. Now here's Drake May, like an actual good quarterback. I don't think that the Patriots will win. So I'm not going to bet Patriots money line, but 7.5 I think is a great bet on the Patriots on Sunday. And yeah, the Colts are, I think, an easy bet. Not that they're definitely going to cover. Like the Lions have been the best team in the league. They could win by 20. It's possible, right? But I think with Indy, what you have, Perloff, is a quarterback in Anthony Richardson who has sky-high potential and looked like last week against the Jets, and that was the upset pick last week, Colts over Jets, that Richardson was going to start realizing some of that potential. Like, if he keeps doing that, like, this is a guy, and I know fantasy football is in real life, but this was a guy that really smart people that do fantasy football and betting, like, we're drafting as like the 5th quarterback off the board in fantasy this year. Like, there are high expectations for him. If that's what he is, that's what he was last week. If that's what he is this week, then this point spread is way too high. And I think the Lions are on upset alert here. So Colts, I bet Colts +8. I think 7.5 is fine also. And I'll have a ticket on Colts money line, Colts to win this game on Sunday against the Lions in Indianapolis.
All right, what do you think? Eagles play the Rams Sunday night. The Eagles are 3-point favorites in L.A. I'm very, very nervous as an Eagles fan, Nick.
Yeah, I like the Eagles. I want Devontae Smith to play, so he didn't practice the last couple of days with a hamstring injury. This point spread at times, Perloff, has dropped to 2.5. If anyone out there wants to bet the Eagles, I think we can wait, and I think you'll be able to bet -2.5. Don't bet 3. Don't lay 3. See if you can lay 2.5. If you like the Rams, bet +3. I do think the Eagles are a lot better than the Rams. And I think Matthew Stafford's game last week against the Patriots, and this is going to sound like I don't think the Dolphins offense is playing that well. Like, I don't think like the downfield passing game is there right now for Miami. So I don't like Miami to be able to exploit the Patriots defense like Matthew Stafford did last week. So like Stafford played well in the game, but Matthew Stafford, this is not like a vintage Matthew Stafford season here. I think the Eagles defense is starting to round into form. Quinyon Mitchell looks like one of the best corners in the league, not just one of the best rookie corners, one of the best corners. And I think there's a path for Saquon Barkley to not just win Offensive Player of the Year, but maybe to be MVP, the first one since Adrian Peterson at running back when it's all said and done. Give me the Eagles, Perloff, but I want to lay 2.5, not the current number of 3.
Nick Kostos joining us from You Better You Bet. That'd be interesting if Saquon would be able to win it over Derrick Henry. I know Henry didn't have a great game against the Steelers, but that's really interesting to see. Nick, the 49ers, the Packers, obviously this feels like one of those games, if you're betting it, where the injury report kind of feels like everything, right? Purdy was limited, but you had Bosa did not practice. Trent Williams did not practice. A lot of that. Green Bay now favored by 3 is what I'm seeing at home. How would you bet this game?
Yeah, I think it's, I think we have to wait. We're not going to know about Brock Purdy probably until Sunday. Based off what Kyle Shanahan said yesterday, which was hopefully he feels good on Sunday to play, implies to me that he's not practicing today, that Purdy's not practicing, and they're going to take this up to Sunday. I think if you're out there listening or watching right now and your thought is, well, I need to go bet Green Bay, like the opportunity's lost. Like the opportunity was yesterday when all this news came out. So the point spread is currently up to 3. This is what we call, this is an in-between number. This is in between Brock Purdy playing and Brandon Allen starting for the Niners. So if on Sunday it's announced that Purdy is starting, this point spread is going to drop right back to where it was, like let's call it Green Bay -2. And if it's Brandon Allen, this is going to shoot up way past 3. And then it's just, where does it stop? Does it go to 6 potentially?
Could it be also a Bosa number, though? Because I feel like Bosa's almost – I know when an injury with a quarterback happens, you move the spread. But are defensive ends getting to that point where when Bosa's out, you actually have to move the number?
Yeah, I think Bosa – now we're at the most key number right now of 3. So I don't know if Bosa would be enough. Like Purdy's the most important. And I know you like prefaced your question by saying that, right? The Purdy's the most important. Bosa definitely matters a lot. I don't think that Bosa would be enough right now to move this from 3 to 3.5, given what a significant move that is. But yeah, like if Bosa doesn't play and Trent Williams doesn't play and Purdy doesn't play, like I'm thinking, like what's the right number in the game? Like is it Green Bay -7? Like, should the Packers go up to a touchdown favorite? And the way that I always like to think about things like this is, if you're a bettor, right, you're a sports fan, what number would you need to bet San Francisco on the road in Green Bay with no Bosa, no Trent Williams, and Brandon Allen? Remember, like, this is not Jimmy Garoppolo anymore. Seriously. Like, Garoppolo started a Super Bowl. Brandon Allen's a curtain-jerking jabroni. Like, what number would you need to bet the 49ers?
Yeah, but Kyle Shanahan always makes that quarterback look good, though.
Okay, I've seen Brandon Allen play before. I would be willing to bet that he would not play.
I get him confused with Kyle Allen a lot. I'm not sure I would know the difference.
I don't think it matters. Cardinals, Seahawks, Nick, Arizona, slight favorite in Seattle. Total set at 47.5, which I think could be the interesting part of this game. But what do you see?
I like Seattle. I think the teams are pretty evenly matched. The game's in Seattle. The Seahawks have one of the best home field advantages in the league. Arizona has been living a charmed life as of late, leading into its bye week. And I do think the upside for the Cardinals is potentially high this season. But I think Seattle really showed something last week with the win, the last-second win over the San Francisco 49ers. And I think one thing to consider is the emergence of Jackson Smith and Jigba, last year's first-round pick at wide receiver, who is finally starting to live up to those expectations, along with DK Metcalf and Kenneth Walker. Like, this Seattle offense is humming. And the one thing about the Cardinals defense that I think is going to be its bugaboo coming down the stretch of the season, they don't have a legitimate pass rusher. Like, and that's the one thing they need to add in the offseason. They need a big time edge rusher. They don't have it right now. Maggie, I do agree with and I think you were asking that to say that maybe the over is the interesting bet in this game. I think this is a higher scoring game. I think Seattle ultimately outscores the Cardinals.
Love it, dude. Can you give me an NFL prop? We do picks at the end of the Friday show. And
you can't use Nick as your personal picks concierge.
I had Cooper Rush under 185. That was done by like 2 plays into the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible bet, man.
I'm calling BS on
Wait,
this.
You say
These
now.
are our picks. You can't ask Nick for some personalized, like he's your own betting guru. You got to make those picks on your own.
What?
It's the integrity, Nick.
All right, Nick, call me in the break.
I'll send you. Do you want me to like?
No. Give our audience a prop.
I'll give it to the
audience.
Give
our audience a prop. That's really the question.
All right. So let's do. Let's go to the Colts and the Lions here. And if I'm right, and Indianapolis is going to keep this game close or potentially pull off the outright upset. Josh Downs is on the injury report. He's not listed right now. So let's go elsewhere here. Let's go to Anthony Richardson rushing yards is 40.5. So again, like create the game state in your head. Detroit is going to score in the game. Like, that is going to happen. The Lions offense, I guess Goff could throw like 5 picks again, but unlikely. So Detroit's going to score. Indy has to score to keep up. If Anthony Richardson's going to have the type of game needed, not to upset the Jets, but to upset the Lions, he's going to be running. He's awesome at it. Anthony Richardson, 40.5 rushing yards. And then if we're going to look at the anytime touchdown market in a high-scoring game, we bet this last weekend it cashed. It was 16-1. Now it's 12. Anthony Richardson to score 2 touchdowns in the game, 12-1 is a bet that I'll place on Sunday as well.
I feel like you get more into anytime touchdowns than anything that you do in your betting world. You get so excited on social media for your anytime touchdown.
Well, it's because they're always it's always mispriced.
Yeah, you seem to do you do well
happens.
there, right?
Can I give an example? It didn't win last night, but just as an example of what I'm talking about. Like, this is going to sound, it is insulting. I mean it as an insult. Anyone can bet like Justin Jefferson touchdown. It's a roll of the dice, and you're getting terrible odds on that bet. So last night, the bet didn't win, but just as an example. So last night, Pat Freiermuth, Steelers starting tight end, was plus 350 to score a touchdown. Darnell Washington was 10-1, the Steelers' second tight end. Since Russell Wilson took over as Steelers starting quarterback, Darnell Washington has more targets than Pat Freiermuth. Like, he gets thrown the ball more. One guy is plus 350, one guy's 10-1. Like, whether the bet wins or loses, it's a bet that we should make every single time, and you live with the outcome. Just as one example, and you get at least one of these in every single game in the NFL every week.
Does your wife have to listen to these takes too? Do you like try this stuff out on her?
No. Perloff, we've been together for like 6 years. Like this, she tuned me out in like 2019, dude.
This is the key to the happy marriage. Just like
completely tuned. Are you kidding? Like, we sit down at the dinner table and I'm like, let me tell you about Darnell Washington tonight. You joking, man?
I'm trying this out for Maggie and Perloff tomorrow. I don't know if it matters. It doesn't matter. You got to bet it. Nick, I'd ask you for your upset pick of the week, but you gave it to us. I mean, if you're picking Colts over the Lions, I think that's it, unless you want us to hit the music on another one.
Yeah, but I could give you another one here. I'll come up with something.
Manny,
Let's hit the music.
All right, we got to have 2 upset specials this week.
Let's go to Monday night. I think the Chargers are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Upside for the Chargers, I think, is sky high. Maggie, remember we talked about this last week?
Yep.
Like, if you're like Maggie's a Bills fan, who's going to beat the Chiefs in the AFC if it's not the Bills and it's not the Ravens? I think it's the Chargers. Let's take the Chargers, and I do like +3 more, but let's take the Chargers on Monday night to beat the Baltimore Ravens. And just one other bet that I really love for Sunday, when the point spread goes down to 3, we're almost there. I think Brian Flores puts Caleb Williams in a blender. I love the Vikings against the Bears on Sunday in Chicago.
That's awesome. Nick Kostos, you can listen, you can watch, You Better You Bet. He's the place to go if you want to make a little money. Thank you, Nick.
Wishing everybody minimal sweats winning bets the absolute very best of luck.
Thank you, Nick. You can't use Nick as your personal props guy, by the way. This is not what our picks season-long head-to-head competition is about. You got to do your own work.
I do have one pick that Nick said that I already picked. But
Me too. But that's okay.
Yeah, I know. Now I feel bad. Like, it's going to look like we're copying Nick.
No, but I was leaning Seahawks, which is why I asked the question.
So I have Colorado, but I still have it at FanDuel on -2.5 as of right now, and that's the number I'm taking.
All right.
Got to do a little shopping because it's
fine.
a 3 on DraftKings, and Nick had it at probably closing at 3. But we're not copying Nick. Just brilliant minds sometimes think alike.
That could be true. Okay, coming up next, we got a lot more for you, including, man, so much happening around a team that just finds drama at every turn. How do they keep running into all this stuff? We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Manny is curating a playlist just for Andrew Bogish. We're about to lose Bogish.
No, I'm good. I'll pass this.
Little DMB,
yeah.
Dave Matthews Band.
It's a stand-up, isn't it?
All right, beggars can't be choosers, right, man?
No one was asking for it.
Oh, okay, you know what? Next time.
Listen, Manny tries to do something nice.
This is the last thing I'll ever try to do for
I didn't realize Manny was working today.
Manny
I don't
was
have my intern today.
training Alex in the back yesterday. Air quotes.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that's why you need to be here for 7 consecutive days.
We know. Alex also works over at WFAN like consistently. So yeah, we think he knows what he's doing on the board. But listen, that's the process around here. We want to make sure everyone knows inside out, upside down, how this show works.
Because Thursday shows are different than Wednesday shows too, so you need to come back the next day. The Bilotti scam still lives. That's good to know.
You said it, not me. Bogish says headlines. If you missed our spot with Nick Kostos, he joins us every Friday. You can always download the Maggie and Perloff podcast if you want to win some money or use the rewind function on the free Odyssey app.
I'm a great time.
These headlines are sponsored by LinkedIn. Let LinkedIn's deep candidate insights help you find your next Pro Bowl hire today. To post your job for free, go to linkedin.com/recruitment. Terms and conditions do apply. I hate Manny. It looked beautiful on TV. These Steelers and Browns playing a snow globe on Thursday Night Football. It ended beautifully for those Browns, 24-19 winners, courtesy of a last-minute comeback. But Steelers wideout George Pickens giving Cleveland no credit.
I don't really think the Cleveland Browns are a good team at all. I think the conditions kind of saved them today.
Ooh, the conditions saved them. Pickens also complained about the officials and got into a scuffle with Steelers corner Greg Newsome after the final play. Newsome then called Pickens a fake tough guy in the post-game locker room.
It seemed like they went into the stands.
Yeah,
But
what
Amazon
was the,
kind of missed it.
They cut back to it and trying to figure it out, but they never got the bottom line. That's not nice, Manny.
Well, all right. Well, I get my 2 cents in.
When your internet doesn't work later and you don't get your packages, it's because Big Brother was listening. Back to you, Bogish.
Back to the game. The Browns took a 18-16 lead early in the fourth quarter, then gave up 2 touchdowns while committing 2 turnovers, but then got Nick Chubb in the end zone with 57 seconds left for the 24-19 win. Jameis Winston, take it away.
That fourth quarter, it really was like it was a whole paradigm shift. Like we were playing so well offensively, and then bang, bang, back-to-back drives with turnovers, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is really an NFL's filmed moment. The snow starts pouring down. It starts getting like I felt like my feet started getting heavy because I'm squishing through the snow, and man, it was so good, and it was so great to end up getting that win. The horse is prepared for battle.
I mean, he's got a feel for the moment. Last hour or 2 hours ago, I think I said that I think it's genuine.
But victory comes from the Lord.
You think it's genuine? Like, of course he's performing. I mean,
well, that feels.
But
very
it's like so obvious that he's performing that it's almost genuine. Does that make sense? Like, he's not trying to pretend. Yeah, he knows it's shtick, and he knows it. It's not like, I think it's okay.
If he had less of a sordid background and better QB skills, he would be a national treasure.
Without a doubt. I think a lot of people still love famous Jameis, even though I think technically he's banned from Uber. But to be fair, I think people do like him.
The Steelers had won 5 in a row before last night. They now have a 1-game lead on the Ravens in the loss column atop the AFC North. Good times last night for all of the
when bust Jama,
because the Spurs won again without their best player, 126-118 over the Jazz. Harrison Barnes scoring 25 with 10 rebounds. Wemby was missing his third in a row with a bruised knee.
Are we sure he's their best player?
Yes. Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr., the unanimous AL MVP runner-up. Witt received all 30 second-place votes, while Aaron Judge got all 30 first-place ones. Shohei Ohtani, the unanimous winner in the NL, with Mets shortstop Francisco Lindor coming in second. And in non-Alex Ovechkin hockey news, the Bruins beat Utah last night 1-0 in their first game after firing head coach Jim Montgomery. Guys, back to you.
And in Ovechkin news, you told us earlier that he's got a broken fibula, and so he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks?
4 to 6.
4 to 6 weeks. Hockey time, he'll be back in 2 weeks. No. And so the chase down of Gretzky's goals record is going to be put on hold for just a minute.
Yeah, probably till 2025. And then he'll have 3 full months to score 27 goals.
That's hard, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I don't think it's impossible.
So he's 39. I mean, Jaromir Jagr's like 57 and still playing. So he can do this. He's going to be fine. He'll have to do it next year. That's my prediction right now, making the call.
And that was the assumption going into this year. Then he was ridiculously good for the first, what is it now, 2 months, 6 weeks of the season. So if he goes right back to that scoring pace, he'll get it this year. Again, even minus a month.
Unreal. Dude's almost 40. It's just incredible. Bogusch, thank you so much. Okay, lots more to do. We mentioned we've got some drama going on. With who else? Micah Parsons. Not you, Bogusch. We also have NFL and college picks to make. We also have college football games to preview. We've got a lot to do, guys. Who's coming with me? Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
3 to the wide side right for Winston, who's in the shotgun on third down with the snow coming down. There they go empty. Ford motions wing right. Jameis to throw. Has the ball. Has time to throw. Lofting. Judy has it. Caught it inside the 20 near the 15. First down, Browns.
Thank you to the Browns Radio Network. Yes, snow coming down, understatement. It was a storm where the snow's accumulating through the second half, Perloff.
The horses prepared for battle.
Gotta love it.
Oh,
gotta love
beautiful
football, pure
NFL film style. I mean, it's so funny because it definitely, like, you can't say that this didn't affect the game. Like, if you want to make any outcomes from this, like what it means about the Steelers, it's very hard for me.
You know, yes, this game was about the weather. Obviously, the lake effect snow, it was just coming down in droves. It was sideways. The one thing I will take away is I'm not jumping off the Steelers just because they lost this game. I think that there are things I really like about this team. And number one, I like how Russell Wilson has definitely unlocked George Pickens. They're still able to connect even in the driving snow. I like that they're experimenting now with this Justin Fields thing. Is it perfect today? Was it perfect last night? Absolutely not. But it is an element. It's something different. It's utilizing every single offensive weapon on your roster because they are limited offensively. They don't have tons of weapons. It's not like watching the Ravens. It's not like watching, the Chargers, whoever you want to say. It's not like watching Houston. They are limited in their weapons. And the fact that they're trying to find every single person to contribute, including Justin Fields at times, the backup quarterback. I like this about Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's so interesting about them. They fell from 8-2 to 8-3. Now there's a good chance like they're not going to host a play. If the Ravens can catch them in the AFC North, then it's a tough road because now all of a sudden you have another player in the AFC. In the Chargers, you have the Texans. I know the Texans have not looked impressive this season, but, man, they can get that run game and defense go. When they get Will Anderson and Deion Hunter, I just feel like they're now in the mix in the bottom half of the AFC to me. And it's not because of last night. It's just they are not an explosive team. And the defense has been good for 5 years. And where has it led them? Like, what? Nothing to me. I like your points, but nothing is really changing my mind about how I saw the Steelers coming into the season and how I see them now.
How massive is that game at Baltimore? So you mentioned it, right? For first place in the division, this is a really challenging part of the Steelers' schedule, and they play 3 games in 10 days. It starts with your Eagles in Philadelphia on December 15th. Then it's at Baltimore on the 21st. Finish out with Kansas City on Christmas Day.
Well, this also the Steelers, you have no idea how they're going to play. Their losses are the Colts and the Cowboys. I mean, you have no idea how they're going to play against a bad team. And the Browns. Their 3 losses are mediocre teams at best. So they'll probably play really well against Baltimore, and then they'll probably lose against Cleveland again or against the Bengals. I mean, they have 2 games against the Bengals, so the Bengals mailed it in. Are they done?
I don't think you can, though, with Joe Burrow. Burrow, this offense has been good.
Yeah, but the defense is not good.
It is not
terrible. Good. So, yeah, they're a very hard team to predict, but I just feel like the AFC's gotten too good now. I can't see the Steelers as a bona fide Super Bowl contender.
855-212-4227. You are welcome to weigh in on the Steelers and whether you still consider them contenders at all. Meanwhile, on the flip side for the Browns, I know this is not what it's about today, but it will be about this in the future, which is they need a new quarterback. And we'll see when all the dust settles after week 12. But they moved down significantly in the draft order last night because they won. So they were 3 yesterday, and now they're all the way down to 7. They no doubt need a quarterback. And while this is super fun with Jameis and the weird things he says, and it's fun to watch Nick Chubb score 2 touchdowns and for Cleveland to win for their fans in a snow game, the bigger goal here should be to lose as many games as possible. So
but victory comes from the Lord.
They can get as high a pick and start over with another QB.
Honestly, do you really feel good if, say, they get to 2 and get Cam Ward? Does that feel like a match? It does not to me.
Does Deshaun Watson look like a match?
Well,
we know the answer to that.
The 2 are completely irrelevant. I mean, honestly, I feel like Cam Ward, don't send that guy to Cleveland. It just does not work for me.
Well, then then you're going to say that about everybody.
I just think it's not a great core. I honestly, heck, keep Deshaun and try and get into Arch stakes next year. This just doesn't feel like if you're last year there were 6 quarterbacks in the top 12. This is not going to be the case this year. You might go 1, then 7.
Okay, you want to fast forward and look ahead to Arch Manning. Number 1, they determined where Eli was going to go.
Yeah.
You don't think the whole power of the Manning family is going to somehow decide where Arch is going to be drafted? Like Deion Sanders said he's going to use his influence quietly to get Shador and Travis Hunter to the places he wants them to go, which I'll call BS on that because Deion does nothing quietly. But you don't think the Manning family is going to try to funnel Arch somewhere?
Fair point. My point was not about getting Arch. It was about this is not the year to find your quarterback. Like you're not going to. I'm not sure you're going to go from 9 to 4, and it's going to make a big difference. There might be only one top 5 quarterback this year. I mean, Shador will probably go number 1. I don't know that the NFL is sold on Cam Ward. I like him personally, but he holds on to the ball for an hour and a half when he gets out of the pocket.
He does, but here's the thing about, and what we know about quarterbacks, the draft process is tailor-made for QBs. So they shoot up the draft boards because you'll say, well, if you take them at 17, you might as well take them at 4. And this is how teams get into trouble, but we all know that happens.
In 2021, there was only one first-round quarterback, Kenny Pickett. Last year, at least you came in the season, and everyone knew Caleb Williams and Drake May were top 3 picks. This year, you came in with maybe Shador and maybe Quinn Ewers. Like, you really didn't know. So I think you're right, the quarterback always move up, but this is a thin class. I mean, let me just read you real quick Kuiper's rankings. This is from yesterday. Shador Sanders 1, Cam Ward 2, Jalen Milroe 3, Carson Beck 4, Garrett Nussmeier 5. I mean, there's no way Garrett Nussmeier is going in the first round.
No, but we still have a lot of college football left to play on big stages. So I think these guys, like if you get a big Cam Ward game in a big stage, Carson Beck wins a national title, Jalen Milroe all of a sudden goes and continues his tear. I think these guys are going to fly up.
I don't know. I mean, Justin Fields had an amazing Final Four game and he fell down. I'm not sure the
Still
NFL
was in the top 10. Or was he 12?
11. He was 11.
Okay.
But
right there.
You got to admit, like, this is not exactly Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May. This is Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe. It looks different to me. Maybe I'm naive, but this does not feel like we're going to have anything like last year.
855-212-4227. So that's just a little of what we got out of last night's game. To me, Steelers still a thing. Perloff thinks it's just same old. And for the Browns, you win, and it was exciting, and it was fun to watch in the snow, but ultimately, is getting a quarterback really the goal here? We'll find out. Okay, this has been a topic that has just been raging behind the scenes on this show. Yesterday, you got Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, both named MVPs. You also have Juan Soto, who's now going, you have every team is basically coming to sit down with Soto and offer him bags and bags of money. Our question to you, for the next 10 years, would you rather have Shohei Ohtani or would you rather have Juan Soto? Shohei's already signed to the Dodgers. We know the $700 million all deferred. Juan Soto, it's going to be probably around $700, $660, whatever it's going to be. Who would you rather have for the next 10 years?
To me, no question, Shohei Ohtani. What am I, a general manager, an owner?
You're you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Shohei has a chance, and it's not guaranteed to go down as definitely the greatest player of the modern era, but maybe one of the greatest players ever. The Babe Ruth model is fully possible in the sense that he started out as a pitcher and then just became an unprecedented hitter. He's won 3 MVPs in 4 years. So if he wins another MVP, which he will, he'll be the only non-Barry Bonds player to get to 4. And if he never has a whiff of PEDs, he could end up with 6, 7 MVPs, and that is going to put him in the conversation with Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio. He is the number one star in the sport. He's just watching him at the plate. I mean, he just dominates that thing. I think you would definitely want him. Like you might have a goat on your hands. Okay. And I like Soto a lot. I'd love to have him on the Phillies, but he is just one of a handful of players. Shohei is singular.
Okay, I'm going to disagree that he's one of a handful of players, but in your opinion, you do not think that Shohei should be pitching and hitting. You think he should just be hitting, right?
Yeah, but it's not even a should. Like, I think he will just be hitting. Like, the pitching thing is, it's a nice little side thing, but he clearly is good enough to win the MVP every year as a hitter. And isn't that enough?
Okay, so I think Juan Soto, though, also in MVP conversations, and not this year necessarily, but that's because Aaron Judge, who he was in the same lineup and providing protection for, won the MVP. So to me, I think it's Soto, and here's why. I think Shohei Ohtani, as brilliant as he is, as fun as he is, electric, injuries to me, I think, are going to be a thing because I think he is going to try to continue to hit and pitch. This is part of the $700 million. This is part of what makes him so much different from everyone else. And if he continues to push his body in this way, Pearl, I think you're going to see breakdown because not only would he be trying to do something that no one's done since Babe Ruth, but also his body, he's big. He's a huge guy. And we've already seen wear and tear injuries and fluky injuries, right? So to me, I think that Juan Soto, for as bad as a fielder as he is, he could be a liability out there. For next 10 years, do I want the guy who I feel like I have a lot better chance of him actually being in my lineup every day? Whereas I think Ohtani, the highs are going to be super high, but I think injuries are going to be a thing.
Yeah, but again, you say Juan Soto is an MVP. Like Juan Soto's not been in the league 8 years. He had one season where he came in second in MVP. He didn't even make top 10 this year. He rarely even makes top 5. Like, I think he's a handful of players. Like, is there any? You can find a Juan Soto. There's going to be guys like that. There's not going to be other Shoheis. The other thing, I hate to bring in the marketing aspect. Like Shohei is the star in the sport.
Okay,
it's
but
like
that's a different combo.
Yeah,
different combo.
Well, okay. Say I was actually thinking if I'm an owner who's going to spend all that money, I might want to have the best player. Like even if you get 4 years of the best player, it's like having 4 years of Barry Bonds without the steroids. Like I would want that, even if you're not going to get the whole 10-yard run. I know it's a different conversation, but I do think it's related. Like you have like the guy who's going to be chasing history. Like it's a unique opportunity to get this guy.
855-212-4227. If we put the poll up, I have a feeling that it's going to be landslide Ohtani. But I ask people just to remember, it's not anything that's going to stop Ohtani except for his own body. And he's going to be coming off another injury this year. So are you even going to be able to pitch? And is he going to push himself to pitch? And then what happens? Like this is the part about Ohtani. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be right. I want to watch him play. But I think injuries are going to be a thing.
Well, the other thing, too, is like we're all shallow. We like home runs. Soto's not really a big home run hitter.
Well, in Yankee Stadium, it's not so bad. 41 this year is
yeah,
not.
40. Yeah, right. He could hit 41, which is like a massive number. It's way above his career high. With Judge and Stanton in the lineup and getting a million fastballs, Shohei's going to be, if he's healthy, in the 50s. Like, you're going to get, again, like we're talking like Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Shohei. He's on that Mount Rushmore. It might not last, but I hate to say it. Like, I'm taking the brief flame of excellence.
I mean, listen, Soto had 35 home runs last year in San Diego. It's not like it's so off. He had 32 the year that they won the World Series when he was in Washington.
Those are pitchers' ballparks, too.
Yeah. But that's
yeah, exactly. They're deeper park.
That's like mid 2000s, like a second baseman on the Orioles hits 35 home runs. I'm saying like you want like, you know, if you really want to put people in the seats, get like the 55 home run hitter. Like Shohei, if he's healthy, can challenge for 50 anytime he wants.
855-212-4227. Next 10 years, who do you want? Soto, Shohei? I say Soto, but it's because of the injury stuff. And Perloff says Shohei Ohtani. EJ, I think you are in the Shohei camp, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I am in the Shohei camp because I think you just have to take the higher ceiling guy. And I think Shohei Ohtani showed this year that he's a higher ceiling guy. I just don't think that you'll ever see a 50-50 season from Juan Soto. But the risk, I think you're underestimating the risk of the Shohei injury stuff, bro. I think that is real. He is 30, and
Juan Soto's 25.
Right. Like Shohei's probably in the prime of his career, but there's a chance that maybe this is the best and now we're going to see a slight slide. But I just still think that Juan Soto at his best. Is he hitting 50 home runs, stealing 50 bases? No. He's not that great a fielder, so Shohei not playing the field is not as much an issue for me.
Yeah.
So that, there's different things to weigh there, but I just think Soto's ceiling's too high.
Yeah, but honestly, I like Soto. Again, I want him in the Philly, but I don't even think he's like my number two. I mean, I'd have Acuna running him like crazy if he can get healthy. He kills the Phillies. Like, again, to me, Soto is one of a handful, like 4 players, not like 20 players. Like, I think he's a top 5 player, but Shohei's a clear like number 1, and then there's a slight cliff.
Here's the thing about Soto. If you think he's just one of like 4 great players, and I understand what you're saying, but why is he going to get so much more money than Aaron Judge? Because the age?
Yeah, his age and the length of the contract.
I get it, but
I think owners see that Bryce Harper contract with Philly when he signed for $300 million, 13 years. They're like, give me that. That is like incredible cost certainty.
Double plus that.
Yeah, but by the halfway through, it'll be a total bargain. They'll probably have to redo it. So if you prorate it over time, they're not dumb. They know that the contracts are going up and up and up. It's really not that much. If you get a guy for 12, 13, 14 years who's 25, it makes total sense.
855-212-4227. Okay, so that was something that's been brewing behind the scenes for just a little bit.
By the way, Perloff, if you guys want to do a little side bets for the fans, he said this is definitely a 90-10 poll.
I was exaggerating a little bit, but I'll bet you 75 Shohei.
I wanted to set a spread there, so I was like, you guys think Maggie can cover the 10?
That was
Soto.
That was a little hyperbole. I wasn't on air. That's not fair. We say a lot of things in the production meeting, EJ.
And they all usually make it to the show. 855-212-4227. Lots more to do, including our picks, Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. So a headline is floating around right now that Jason Kelce is going to host a late-night talk show on ESPN. And you guys seem surprised. It seems like a natural evolution for my guy. You go from tush-push to competing with Jimmy Fallon. Yeah. Does this headline surprise you, Maggie?
It doesn't surprise me, and he might be good at it, but it's just a lot of Kelce. Like, we're getting an infusion. You know, like when you get some kind of like a liquid IV and it goes too fast and your arm starts to burn a little bit. It's like we need to back off a little bit, I think, on the Kelce stuff.
You know, ESPN has flirted with this idea before of a late night talk show. My former boss, Dan Patrick, either the idea came up that Dan would host at 11, and that would have been awesome. Dan would have been great at it, better than Kelce.
Dan would have been awesome at it. I love that idea when it got rumored. The other thing, I thought the guys from Barstool would have been actually good at that when they did the van talk.
Well, that was more of a tape variety show. That show was really funny. Didn't last very long.
Well, let's get the thoughts of someone who's in Hollywood, who's in show business. And this is someone who we are such a big fan of. And he's got a new movie out. His name is Clarke Peters, and you would know him from a lot of things. The Wire, 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. What a film that was. John Wick, now starring in the new movie called Bonhoeffer. It's a real story. It's a true story. It's a World War II spy thriller. Clarke Peters is not only an actor, but he's also a producer and a director. Clarke, thanks so much for the time today. How are you?
I'm well, Maggie. How are you this morning?
We're doing fantastic. We've got so many questions for you, but we'll start here. How familiar are you with the Kelsey brothers, and how do you think Jason would do as a late-night talk show host?
Oh, you better stop right now. I don't know. I have no idea. I spend more of my time in Europe, than I do here. So when I get references to American personalities and references to television shows, I am completely at a loss.
You are way better off. Jason Kelsey is a 350-pound former offensive lineman in the NFL who wants to host a late-night show. Can you imagine?
What could go wrong?
Yeah. Can you? I'm sure you've done those shows. That's a hard job, right? To sit and talk to people and make stuff up at a desk.
Oh yes, fortunately you have a lot of researchers who feed you questions, but still you never know where the answers are going to take you. So you have to be you got to be light on your feet and be able to improvise something really quick while you're getting the next feed in your ears.
Clarke Peters is joining us, of course, a prolific actor. He's got so many credits to his name. And, obviously, Clarke, we want to talk about Bonhoeffer. This is the new movie that you're in. It's in theaters starting Thanksgiving. And November 22nd is today. This starts Thanksgiving. But quickly, can we ask you about The Wire? I'm sure people want to talk to you about this all the time. It is so critically and commercially acclaimed as one of the greatest shows of all time. You were on that show. Can you just take us a little behind the scenes for people who love The Wire, who this is such a big part of their lives? What do you remember about being on set, and did you realize at the time just how big of a juggernaut of a show that was?
Well, first of all, I go back to saying that I live and spent most of my time in Europe. So coming back to America and being introduced to American culture via Baltimore was a real enlightening experience. To take you behind the scenes, Baltimore, although is the subject of The Wire, it represents pretty much every city in America. It is the problems that plague Baltimore plague major cities in America. The same problem, whether it's education, whether it's drug, whether it's police corruption, the education systems are being broken down, the way the press deals with these issues. That's the same. To go behind the scenes, there were a lot of characters in The Wire that we as professional actors were working with, who were just everyday citizens of the town, of the city. Whether they were police officers or city clerks, people in local government, or whether they were the drug addicts on the streets and the gangsters. So being introduced back into America via this avenue was an amazing experience. And I have to say that the way that Ed and David had put together the script, I never suspected that Lester was going to last so long. I expected to open up the script and see Kima say, to somebody, did you hear what happened to Lester last night? Boy, he took it. He was just he was just filling up his car with petrol, and he caught one. I never expected to be there that long, and I'm very grateful that I was, and that it was a part of such an iconic piece of storytelling.
How did so many British actors get involved in The Wire? Like, whose call was that? Because it always strikes me when I would watch a show, then I'd hear an interview afterwards, and I'd hear the accent of the actor. But it felt like there was a pipeline to European actors.
I think what it was is that both David and Ed really they wanted theater actors rather than film actors, and so for Dominic and I, our first love, our first passion was theater. So I think that the way a theater actor approaches a story is different to someone who's just experienced in film storytelling. Film storytelling, the story is broken up into different segments. So on Monday you're walking into the house, you're knocking on the door, and on Friday you're going through the door, and on the following Monday you've come into the living room of this place, and you've got to sustain some storyline through that whole thing, which for myself I find rather difficult. But for a stage actor, you're going from the beginning to the middle to the end, and so you have the whole story, a whole episode in your head. And I think that's what they wanted. More of that. That isn't to say that there weren't good stage actors there. I mean, Seth Gilliam, the fine stage actor. Of course, Wendell Pierce, as well, spends a lot of time, or did spend a lot of time on stage. So I think that's what they went for.
Clarke Peters is joining us. He's an actor. He's a producer. You know him from The Wire. You know him from 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. You know him from John Wick. He's got a new movie. It's called Bonhoeffer. It's in theaters starting Thanksgiving. It's a World War II thriller and a true story. And a fascinating one at that. Clarke, we're a sports talk radio show, so obviously sports movies are really in our wheelhouse. I notice you haven't done a lot of sports movies through your career, but I'm curious if you have a favorite sports movie, or if there's maybe an athlete you'd like to portray someday.
Well, first of all, when I was a kid, I rather than acting, I wanted to be a baseball player. My grandfather, at that point in time, the Dodgers had left Brooklyn, but Giants were still in New York City, and the Yankees were just across the river there, And when I was a kid, there was a guy called Willie Mays who was the say hey kid, because he would be out there in the field, and as the ball would be flying out, he would just catch and go say hey, and so Willie Mays was somebody. Elston
Howard, yeah.
Yes, Elston Howard. Yeah. Yes, was another character that I would have loved to play. But baseball, and I've done. Although I'm not a sports addict, I do a lot of voice or I used to do a lot of voice for ESPN, and for the Major Baseball League radio stations. So at that point in time, I was very well versed in what was going on, but that was already 15 years ago. So.
Wait, that's great. You were doing voiceover work for ESPN, like you're watching the NFL, something like that?
Yeah, yes, that's right. That's right. And giving and narrating some of the bios of the different particularly the college league, the kids coming up, and all of that. Yes.
Oh, I can see that.
That did take me back into sports, and I really wish that I didn't lose that gig.
The business, easy come, easy go.
Yes, that's right. But it kept me in touch with football, and I didn't realize that I liked it so much even as a kid. But you go to Europe and football becomes soccer. So it's, you wind up watching those guys.
Wait, do you have a team over there? Who's your soccer team?
Mine would be Man United.
Yeah. Okay.
Manchester United.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 3 boys, and I have to settle on that because they each had different teams that they loved. Whether it was Arsenal, and they're still stuck on Arsenal. But the youngest was Man U, so I had to support the youngest.
Clarke, so the movie is Bonhoeffer. I actually have been thinking about this a lot. There are a lot of Marvel movies and those kind of things, but one kind of movie that seems to be persisting is war movies. Like there's a lot of World War I and World War II movies, even now, that are being made. Why do you think movies about the big wars are so important?
Well, they're important for two reasons. One is that we should have a sense of history. We should learn from our mistake. And I think that's on the viewers' side. We should take a look at these moments. But I think that on the production side, and I think the covert reason for it is that there might be some propaganda that is being subliminally broadcast. That might be part of another agenda. Which is why there's so many going on now. I don't understand why there are so many when we should be looking forward rather than looking backward. But I understand, that looking backward gives a person a certain sense of pride or uplifting in some way. But when you look at what was the last one I saw? That was just horrific. The amount of death and destruction, and really what war did, to men and women. There's nothing to really be. It shouldn't really be glorified, and I'm afraid that sometimes it comes up as. I mean, for myself, I remember looking at the Wild Blue Yonder or Here to Eternity, and and as a child and feeling inspired, to get up and couldn't wait till I was 18 so I could just join the Army. But by the time I got to be 18, I had a very good idea of what war was about, and it didn't seem to make sense, So there's something. I don't know why, but we should learn from them. But we should move forward. We should, they should be coupled with something more progressive rather than retrospective. So the viewer is not just lost in the moment of patriotism, just for the sake of it. These type of things, I think, and this is what Bonhoeffer found is that sometimes these things separate us to the point where where drastic actions are being taken by people who have no idea what the real agenda is. And I think that we become how can I put it? We become we desensitized. We've become desensitized by looking at some of the violence and things that we see. We might go, oh, that must hurt. Yes, but it hurt for you watching there for a second, but for that person that you see being portrayed there, that's their life.
Clarke,
that bullet in the side is not a good thing. Yeah.
Clarke, we're such huge fans of yours. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on the show. Congratulations on the new project, Bonhoeffer, the new movie. It starts on Thanksgiving exclusively in theaters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maggie.
Appreciate that.
You guys have a good day.
You too.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about there's a lot of anti-war movies too. I'm not sure I totally agree with that because Hurt Locker, nobody said that and said that's patriotic. So anyway, interesting. And Bonhoeffer, that sounds very, very intense about World War II. Maggie, I will watch any World War II movie. I actually recently watched a war movie the other day.
What one?
The Thin Red Line is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Is that Clint Eastwood?
No, it's Terrence Malick.
Okay.
Yeah, it's incredible. I would highly recommend it. Some of my favorite movies are war movies. I didn't think about the propaganda angle of it, but I think I know what he's talking about too. There's different kinds of war movies.
We got to make some picks.
Yeah.
We got to do that. We're going to make our college and NFL picks coming up next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Andrew Bogusch is here with the latest. Is Alex Ovechkin healthy yet, folks?
It does not matter. These last batch of headlines are sponsored by PXG Golf. Staying long and straight on the golf course is easier than ever with PXG clubs. Take your game to a whole new level. Save $10 per club at pxg.com/football and use code football.
Curve to the left.
It was week 2 last season when Nick Chubb shredded his left knee against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Last night in Cleveland, he faced those Steelers again for the first time.
Jameis the snap. Give to Chubb. Chubb running. Chubb Chubb, touchdown. Nick Chubb did it. He stayed on his feet. The Browns take the lead. 57 seconds to go, and the Browns lead the Steelers.
Chubb putting the Browns back in front for good after an 18-6 fourth quarter lead became a 19-18 hole. Cleveland officially won 24-19 when Grant Delpit knocked down Russell Wilson's final pass into the end zone. Here's Jameis Winston on his running back.
Before this game, I told Nick, I said, I got you today. I know how important this was for him. And we ain't gonna talk about last year. Y'all all know the gig, but I'm so grateful and happy that I was able to see a smile on his face after that sweet victory against his team.
Jameis also grateful that they won, period, because after putting Cleveland up 18-6 with a rushing touchdown, he had 2 fourth quarter giveaways that helped the Steelers take that 1-point lead. This is the Browns' 3rd win of the season, the last 2 over the Ravens and Steelers.
The horse is prepared for battle.
The Minnesota Timberwolves do not win in Toronto, as we all know. A 110-105 defeat there last night. Their 20th consecutive loss in the city. The last time the T-Wolves won in Toronto was January 21st of 2004. That roster included KG, Sprewell, and Sam Cassell.
Damn!
Don't even bother going.
Wow.
Save on the airfare.
That's amazing.
Wait, you know what's funny? When I was in college, I went to Toronto to go watch a Raptors-Timberwolves game. I had no idea that they were in the midst of a long losing streak like that.
No wonder the tickets were $5.
Yeah, they were.
Manny went to a school that I still don't accept as being real.
It's real.
Buffalo State. That sounds like a school in a TV show or a movie.
Hey, Sweet 16 in the men's soccer tournament. Beat Dickinson. Let's go Bengals. Up the Bengals. Yeah.
I know many people who went to Buffalo State.
Are they better or worse than Manny?
Right on par.
You know who?
They have a type?
Do you know who actually also went to Buffalo State?
R.J. Barrett.
No, I wish. It was
Victor.
Do you know
Victor Wembanyama?
That gentleman right there.
Well, not Victor Wembanyama. Peter Schwartz.
Tequila.
Pico de Goyo.
Took me a second. Got it.
Caraco.
Wait, no, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Peter Schwartz.
Peter Schwartz graduated of Buffalo State, just like yours truly.
Okay, so it's definitely not real. The Magic got a 119-118 win at the Lakers on Franz Wagner's 3 with 2.5 seconds left. Men's college hoops last night. Drama in the Bahamas. That's an accidental rhyme. Number 13, Baylor. Number 22, St. John's in double overtime.
The dramatics come to this. 4.1. St. John's 98. Baylor 96. Ejiofor with one more free throw attempt. Bounces the ball, rotates, shoots, and short. And the rebound comes down to Omir with 3, 2, and Roach for 3 at the buzzer. Oh! It's good. Jeremy Roach hits the home run shot, and it's Baylor that escapes.
Oh, the great John Minko.
Oh, that was like putting on a warm pair of slippers.
Tough engineering, though, from Learfield. Former Duke guard Jeremy Roach, the buzzer-beating 3 after 2 missed free throws. So the Bears beat the Johnnies 99-98 double OT to kick off the Baha Mar Championship.
Why did it seem like there were no people there?
There were people there.
No, I know, but it
the
sounds
mic
like
was
it was
pointed in a way that made it sound empty.
I don't know if that was their problem, if it was put strangely into our computer system. We've had some tech glitches. I don't know who's to blame for that, but that clearly was not good audio quality.
I thought Minko's microphone was still in Queens while the game was going on in the Bahamas.
That could explain it. Do they have weird internet in the Bahamas that you can't? I don't know what's going on.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was cool to hear John Minko.
If you say so.
Did we hear
that St. John's lost?
There you go. That's it? You want to hang around for some picks?
I do not. I have NFL news to break.
Someone lock the door. NFL news, more than Jason Kelsey's getting a late night show?
I'm just going to go back and be by my cell phone in case it buzzes at an inopportune time. I'll Adam Schefter.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, now I can't think about anything else, by the way. So
I know.
thank
We
you.
had a story from Schefter yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden, what is it? Bryce Underwood. Bryce Underwood is like one of the top recruits in the entire country. He was supposed to be going to LSU. He flips his recruitment yesterday to Michigan. Of course, who breaks the news? Michigan man himself, Adam Schefter. And Perloff texts our chat, where do you think Schefter was getting busy while he got the news? Now I can't think of anything else every time he breaks a story.
I didn't get that text.
No, it was actually the Robert Kraft story of it.
Oh, was it the Robert Kraft
Yeah,
story?
I didn't even know.
Didn't get that one either.
I did not get that one either. Bogey.
You know, we have separate things going on that we don't want to include you guys on. How are we going to talk about you if you're on the text right now?
We know. That's been the problem from the beginning.
You suck, Bogus. I mean, the whole design is so Andrew Bogus gets the last choice in great debate. That's what we're doing here.
And then
you're like,
duh.
Greatest slugger of all time, and you're left with like... I don't know.
The cast of characters that you would take to San Antonio over me grows almost weekly. So
basically, the entire graduating class of
Buffalo State. I knew you were going there.
And anyone with a nickname that starts with big, you're in as well.
And tiny.
Big Nick, Big Harry, Tiny, Big Friendly, you're all in.
Big Dave, everybody. Okay, thank you. Let's quickly get to some picks. EJ, do you have our records, sir?
Maggie and Perloff's NFL picks.
I do, in fact, have your records, Maggie. So, Maggie, you went 2-3 last week, so you are now 32-23.
Whoop.
Perloff, you also went 2-3 last week, so you are now 29-26.
I was robbed, but go ahead. So were you, Maggie.
So
we're
many
both
bad
robbed.
beats last
There
week.
was a
I'm cratering. I'm falling like a rock.
That was a rough one, man. We were both upset about what happened. That's the
Bears,
nature of
Packers
betting.
over. Can someone hit a field goal?
That was
Remember, San Jose State's up 14-0. It's a tie game with 7 minutes left, and they lose by 60 points.
Yeah, that was rough, too.
Thank you,
about
EJ.
last week.
Thank you, EJ.
The slate has been wiped clean. So how we do this, 2 college picks, 1 against the spread, 1 over-under, 3 NFL picks, over-under against the spread, and a player prop. Perloff, get us going.
Okay, I'm going to start with college. I've been riding Colorado. They've been covering the spread a lot. They are 2.5-point favorites. Some places 3, but I still have them at 2.5 on FanDuel, and I'm taking that number against Kansas. This is a great game. Huge test. I'm not taking Kansas lightly by any means. I just feel like Colorado lately has felt like a team of destiny, so I feel pretty comfortable with that. Now, I am avoiding all the big games for the totals. I don't know what's happening, but I was reading about Clemson.
Yeah.
Your Clemson Tigers. You predicted them to win the ACC.
I did.
Still have a chance. I think they got to run up the score a little bit. They are facing their cross-state rival, I believe, Citadel, and the total's 58.5, and they are 50-point favorites. So I'm basically betting on Citadel to get in the end zone. I'm going Dabo Swinney running it up, trying to make a statement. Over 58.5, Clemson Citadel.
Okay.
You do college.
I hate to do this because I always support our service academies, and of course we support our troops, but I got to take Notre Dame, and I'm going to lay the 14 here. And it's not just because of what happened with Notre Dame and Navy, where Navy came into that game, thought they were going to be competitive, and it was not competitive. I just think Army has not really faced anyone near the caliber of what Notre Dame's defense is, and that's hard to adjust for on the fly. These teams know each other well. It's a weird game in Yankee Stadium. I don't love that, but I'll still take Notre Dame, and I'll lay the 14. As far as my over-under is concerned, this pick's a little close to home for me. I watched the Rutgers Scarlet Knights rather closely, and Illinois has been good to me on a lot of bets earlier this season. These two teams combined, I don't see a lot of scoring. 47.5 is the total. I will take the under 47.5 between this Big Ten matchup, Illinois, Rutgers. All right, NFL.
Okay, we talked about this game with Nick Kostos. It's an exciting one. The Seahawks-Cardinals actually has a lot of playoff implications. And we talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba. EJ and I come in every Monday morning like, this dude is awesome. His total receiving yards is at 56.5. I'm going to go over on that. I think this could be a really, really close game. It's a 1-point spread right now. I say that they go to who is now, ironically, their number 1 receiver over DK Metcalf, going over 56.5. I'd like the Chargers to make a statement. The Harbaughs are incredible on Monday night. They play the Ravens, host the Ravens.
Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, my God, you're right. So both Harbaughs are good on Monday night. I didn't even think about that. That's a problem. I have a total number.
You got to hurry up.
I have a total number of Harbaughs. And then my total will be KC Carolina. The spread is down to 10.5. I'm going over 43 points. I mean, come on. Chiefs have to wake up at some point. Just wake up on offense.
It's a good one. All right, for the NFL, I'm going to ride with Nick Kostos here. I was thinking about this one anyway. He joins us in the 8 o'clock hour. Give me the Seahawks, and I'll take the +1. Give me a Seahawks, a point at home, Arizona. I get Arizona's coming off the bye. I understand they've been a good team, but I think Seahawks found a little something last week in their win over the 49ers. I will also be taking the total in this game, 47.5. So I'm going to double dip on the same game, and I think this is going to go over between the Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think Arizona's defense is still not very good. I think a lot of points are going to be scored here, over 47.5. And for my player prop, I'm going to go to a game that probably many fewer people are going to be watching now, and that's the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. This game is in Washington. Weather is clear. I'm going to take Jaden Daniels over 7.5 carries. I know that he's been rushing and running a lot less than he had in the beginning of the year, but we're talking about less, still 12 attempts, 10 attempts, 16 attempts. Those are the last 3 games. But I think he's going to attempt more than 7.5 rushing attempts. Give me 8. So give me almost half of last week. That seems right to me.
Get your damn act together.
So give me Jaden Daniels over 7.5 rushing attempts in their game against the Dallas Cowboys. So recap yourself, Pearl.
Okay, college, I have Colorado. Let's go. I have the over on Clemson Citadel, of course. Pro, I have KC, Carolina over 43, Chargers +2.5, and I have JSN over 56.5 yards for the Seahawks.
Okay, I'm going to take Notre Dame, and I'm going to lay the 14 against Army. I'll take Illinois and Rutgers under 47.5. Give me Seahawks +1, Seahawks Cardinals over 47.5, and Jaden Daniels over 7.5 rushing attempts.
Tell you, Monday morning, what we're talking about, Niners-Packers, I have a sense. It's an important game. Like, this is it for our Niners. What do you got to lean? I think you like the Packers.
I do.
You're wearing Packers green.
It's only because of the Purdy shoulder injury. That's it. Thank you to EJ Stewart, Manny Rodriguez. Thank you so much. Thank you to Andrew Bogish and Andrew Kaplan. Thank you to Clarke Peters, who joined us, Nick Kostos, who joins us every Friday. And, of course, the Weedos, the coffee drinkers. Fantastic job all week. Can't do the show without you. Have a great weekend.
You're in a 5-minute break.